Just going crazy, just all fucked up, man.
I was like, you good? You hear that? You hear that, man?
I heard you. I heard you.
It's like footsteps in Call of Duty.
Did
Like,
I hear me?
Were those your footsteps?
Did you hear me? Can anyone hear me?
I can hear your heartbeat, dog.
Go to sleep.
So from the distance,
like 30
from the distance.
that's what I was saying for the skit. It's like 2:18 a.m. But like the camera's like right out front of our tent. But we're in like one of the sleeping spots on the Appalachian Trail. There's like 20 other tents.
Yeah.
And it's just like you pop out like. He's like, and then we had that combo. And he's like, "Can you hear me?" I'm whispering. You know what I mean? So I was like, "Shut the fuck up!"
I'm outside the tent, like, it's a whispering voice. I can't hear you out there, bro. I can't hear you out there.
Steve, I want to pack this tent up. Steve,
leave
the tent.
We gotta go.
Leave the tent.
We gotta go. We gotta go.
There's billy goats on this trail.
Like you leave and don't come back forever. I'm just sitting in the tent, just like.
I'm naked. You see me at 8 a.m. and naked. I'm swimming in like a pond or something. There's a horse there. I won't get out. I'm looking at the horse. I'm scared. You gotta talk me into it. You went through your own whole night.
Oh, fucking horses.
I got one shaved line in my head.
Oh, fucking horses. That's where you need. That's where you need the shaved line in my head, bro.
I'm missing my bottom lip.
You need one in my head, like right down the middle.
Oh man, that'd be so cool.
Go like straight like the old monk style, where it's just all bald over here and it's just all everything else is long.
Yeah,
yeah. Just be like,
that's one way. But I'm telling you, man, no long hair.
No long hair.
I just think how I would trash an Indian if me and him scrap.
In the wilderness. I'll be able to cut this off, and make it into a rope.
It's weird because I would like to see that.
I'm gonna weave it, bro. I'm gonna weave it. Craft a rope. You gotta be creative out this, bro. In the wilderness, man.
It's just weird. I'm sitting here thinking about fighting, and like we've discussed ball shots, you know.
Yeah.
But
heavily.
I guess I don't feel as bad about like first of all, it is what it is out like if you were fighting a man for your life,
streets,
right?
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
Like in the woods.
Oh yeah, in the woods. Yeah.
In the streets, someone's gonna come.
Yeah.
In the woods, bro, no one's there. Like this man could bury you afterwards.
That's why I like
you will ball shot.
That's why I like the first scene of Game of Thrones with Khal Drogo. You know, he has the longest ponytail because when a warrior's defeated, they cut your ponytail off. He has the longest one because he's never been defeated.
Yeah.
It's like something like that, just like, but that's not how the real world work, you know what I'm saying?
No, dude. I'm just thinking a fist fight, man. I will grab that long ass hair and I'll just swing you around out here on a fight for our life. There's no, street code.
Yeah.
There's no street code, period.
That's what I'm sitting there. I'm like,
a man code. There's no man code.
Fight for your life, ball shots all day,
I'll swing you by your hair
Boom.
to stop you in your nuts.
You got my hair. I'm just like, It's just like
going for your eyes.
Yep. Exactly. It is
deadly
what it
out
is.
there, right?
It is what it is. Exactly, man. I'm not because like.
So why do you
we've seen the end indication.
So I don't understand why do people want long hair. I just think it's such a tactical disadvantage.
Oh yeah, but I mean, like it's like you just don't. You know what I mean? Like
you just think you're safe.
Like, no. You do you factor in I guess you should factor in everything, but I mean, like, I just don't think about it. I mean, I think about it, but like it's not like that drives my everyday decision making type of deal. You know what I'm saying?
Right. For me, I just don't get that though, because in my head it's like I do think about that though. Like that's like one of the first things I think about. Like any other way, you're just lying to yourself for like what the truth is. At the end of the day, you got the biggest city in the world. You got humans living day to day. I mean, when you're around this many people, you're going to run into a couple issues, bro.
Oh,
and
yeah.
And you're around some people who are grimy motherfuckers, dude.
Mm-hmm.
And if they have an advantage, I 100% believe they will use it against you.
100%.
To knock you out.
Especially they're losing.
Knock you out, hit you after you get knocked out, run your pockets, strip you naked, whatever it may be.
Let's always keep this knife in my fucking boot and just cut it in the midst of battle. But I mean, I think that's
nice try,
I think that's why, like, I've been considering it, like, keeping like just like kind of like tools on you, not like every but like every time, you keep some tools, you keep that mace on you, keep a knife on you, something, keep whatever you can on your person to defend yourself at any time. I think there's one thing I've been thinking about lately, because I would love to someone pull up on me and they're just expecting nothing, and I mace the shit out of them, and it's like fuck them up or some shit. It's like
slice their throat.
You can gut him, yeah.
I watched a video the other day, man. It was horrific.
Cut his guts,
It's this crazy guy, bro. He gets pulled over, and right away he just hops out. He's an old man, like a 60-year-old white man. He's like, shoot me, motherfucker, already off the jump, just coming at him. And the guy, I mean, gives him 60, 70 warnings, bro. It's crazy. Like, so many times. Like, the guy said he would be perfectly justified at that point to shoot, and he just didn't, dude. The old man goes back to his car and grabs a fucking carbine, bro. And he starts showing it. And like he's like trying to get the guy to like shoot him, like
Yeah,
cop
suicide.
assisted suicide.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he just aims at the dude and starts busting, bro. He ends up killing the cop, dude. And everybody was on there like, man, like this is what you're talking about when you say like, man, oh you should have shot him in the leg, or you should have gave more warnings, or you should have said this, you should have did that, bro. He's not going home to his family
Yeah.
because he wanted to be a nice guy. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I don't even want cops with that mentality. I don't even want my cops work in my city with that mentality. Not because like you're not a good man or anything. It's like you almost are too much of a good of a man, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's a point where like you can be smart but not be a soldier, right? Like that's what it is. Like to me, that guy was smart and he was thinking about like, oh, if I shoot this guy right now, I'm gonna get investigated. It's gonna be the biggest deal ever. I ain't gotta shoot him. The next thing you know, that motherfucker took his chance to shoot.
Yeah.
And you got, bro.
And
Trying to be that Mr. Nice guy. You need that guy that's like,
yeah,
I said what I said. So, sometimes, you know what I mean? Of course, you don't want them to be a dickhead, but you got to have that.
I've seen a couple videos. I remember there was one. This one was there was two cops, but they pull up on this vehicle. They both start walking up to him. Next thing you know, he pulls up on the passenger side. The guy gets the passenger side first with the one cop, and then just bust shots at him. And next thing you know, like that guy like scrambles back over the guardrail and like falls down to like, and the other guy like he gets out the car and runs over in the field, and pieces that guy up again. And while his partner's behind the car, like taking shots at him, and he's just missing the whole time. You know what I'm saying? It's like when people think about like gunfights, like accuracy and like shooting people in like the moment, like and being accurate, especially with a pistol,
it's hard.
It's very hard, bro.
Yeah.
And I mean, like he's shooting him, he's busting him. He lets go, all his whole clip. Reloads and shit. The guy gets back in the car and takes off. He stays back, tries to get ambulance for his dude. That that cop ends up dying, and like in a split second, just boom, and just pulls out a gun, just starts unloading on the cops, man. And it's just crazy.
And think about that. Like at the end of the day, right? You gotta treat it just like if that was, me and you working that job, bro. You're my brother. You know what I mean? Like, I'm more liable to shoot somebody if I think you're in danger than myself, probably.
Yeah.
You want that mindset. You want them to feel like brothers. You don't want to be like, damn, I missed my opportunity to save his life, which sounds like I can't really put the picture together of all the information you're saying with the guys. But it sounds like he missed his opportunity basically to save his partner's life, and that battle continued. His partner ended up getting taken out. And it's like, I would always rather be, me going to jail than me having to go for my partner's funeral or my funeral.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I don't think a lot of times these officers are equipped or ready to handle these situations, bro. I don't think they get enough training. And then after they're on the force, I don't think that training continues to improve the force, to where you're doing drills or something, or, you're doing live fire, drills and shit like that. Like, I don't think they do it enough, And not only that, but to like, do, while you're on the force, being, having a requirement of like staying fit, and you
but
continually train, shit like that.
They're taking money away from these things. So, I mean, I don't think you're going to defund something and get those results. You're not going to get increased production and defund it. That's simple as that, right?
Yeah. And like, then you have like, places like Baltimore City where like, you have a force like with like such deep rooted corruption, and like kind of like a workplace culture that's like almost like a sickening disease that just like kind of like destroys the whole thing. People like to talk about BPD, but I mean like, the own Department of Justice found, multiple like, civil rights violations and, shit like that. They were pretty much showing them as a racist police department during the Freddie Gray riots. Cops literally were stealing drugs at the pharmacies and then redistributing those onto the streets.
That just happened again.
Yeah.
To the pharmacy I fucking got the other day. I showed you 1,500 perks and saying he's gone, bro. Crazy, man. On Bel Air.
That's crazy, man.
Yep, got in there. You know, this is what I'm saying, bro. When you don't know what you're doing and you think you do, and this is one point where I'm the guy that does know what you need to do. You know, where I'm the person that doesn't know how to do shit and all these other things. This person didn't understand, his failed setup. And the problem was, so obviously he knew he was on Bel Air Ave. So he's a pharmacy there. He doesn't have, grates like the other businesses next to him do.
Yeah.
But he's right there, and he's got panic bars or safety bars, basically, like metal barring going across his door and the windows at the bottom. But they're gapped too far, man. And it's a side window, so it's right next to the door. So it's laminated glass, like how your front windshield is. So you can make a hole in it if you just keep hitting it in one spot.
Yep.
Eventually you'll get a hole through there. Just reach the hole through there and press the door open, bro. I'm like, man, oh my God, what a flawed system. There's no way they should have been able to get in like that. Problem is, see, that the door he has is a special door. And you lock it, basically when you come out, you lock it from two different spots. So someone do that. The one lock you do up top, it doesn't have a knob on the inside. Right. It's just a turn key. So you're supposed to lock that, and then if they did that would have still been locked. That wasn't working. Yeah. Bel Air Ave type shit, they just went in there, fucked with it,
Yeah, that's the thing, man. Especially with a pharmacy company, you should have to follow strict regulations, man, to make sure shit does not get stolen. Because all those are controlled substances, all those different types of painkillers and drugs back there are controlled substances. So you would think the government or cities would take more interest in covering that shit up and making sure it's good, but
or investing in it.
But either way, you don't want to get robbed.
Why don't you, bro? Why don't you? All them pills are covered. That window's covered. That door's covered. Every single thing there is covered through insurance, bro. That guy was not upset. I'm not saying what I'm saying is true, right? I'm not saying that he personally is in that.
Right.
But he knows he's covered for everything that happened there. Of course, you don't want it to happen. It's a hassle. Yeah. But at the end of the day, he wasn't going to have to pay for one thing. He might actually make money because he came to my company, so he might get $2,000 for that window. We charge him $1,500. Just like in a car accident, people do it all the time. Same exact thing with any insurance, bro. These people make money sometimes off of these things. Yeah. Those pills are covered. You know what I mean? And Baltimore gets all the addicts they want. More addicts, more drug addicts. Keep it going. You know what I mean? We've invested so much money in these drug addicts. Now we can't lose them. Drug addicts are our number one source of income. At this point, it seems like everything matters into making them drug addicts. Keep the schools bad, keep the crime high, the drugs high, the guns high. They should be drug addicts or criminals of some type. They've created a perfect system.
Yeah, which I mean, and when you think about that's why I think it's crazy. Baltimore City is just so wild. Where it's just kind of the city itself just does not give a single shit about anything. It's just a very dysfunctional city. Shit doesn't operate the way it should. As far as the trash pickup and the abandoned homes, and then when you're downtown, you literally go to Howard Street, and Howard Street's mostly abandoned, and it's this is right next to the downtown area.
Bro, Squeegee Boy got killed on the corner today.
Yeah, that was right by Micah, wasn't it? Mount Royal Avenue. Yeah, that's Mount Royal.
Over by North Ave and shit.
Yeah, I think that's right there in the Micah campus. And they always be chilling on that North Avenue and 83 exit. Yeah, I think that might be where it was, or close.
I go down to the St. Paul exit.
Yeah, because they have a lot.
So you ain't got to deal with that.
Yeah, they have a lot of them there.
It's always homeless people, squeegee boys, everything.
Yeah,
bean pie man.
Yep. Yeah, you got a couple things. I mean, I'll buy a couple bottles of water if I see someone. But I mean, for the most part, with squeegee bar, I just don't. It's not even I'm just nah, no, don't got it. My bad, man.
Well, that's what I was saying. Isn't that just crazy though? All this shit that I said, and then that to happen like that.
And it's not the only incident. It's not the only one. And that's what I'm saying. The city just does not care. You know, they don't want to deal with that problem. Yeah. And it's just, I think this is like something bigger than like what, whatever politician is in there. Like the whole system just full of like rigged, corrupt motherfuckers.
Right. But at the end of the day, I just think that's something that does need to be illegal at this point, though. Like, it's just crazy, man. The problem is they don't have an answer. Just like they let, homeless people beg on the corners. They don't have an answer.
One thing that I've seen with the city, I mean, how true is it? I don't know. I don't understand like why like it would affect so many different things. But I mean, now like they're blaming COVID on a lot of different things. Like, the not being able to pick up like dumping, not towing cars and shit like that. And just pretty much like the city has really gone down since like
For all
COVID's
this shit
happened,
they always been late on.
Yeah, and they were always late already, and now
Right.
COVID has just like made it like 20 times worse. Like in my neighborhood, like there's literally junk everywhere, bro. There's just shit that's just been dumped and just been chilling there with like 311 ports out the ass.
That
It's the city.
sucks.
It's just like
That sucks.
you know.
What, back there by the railroad tracks?
Oh, the railroad tracks, and then like where they have those bridges over 83 throughout Greektown, all over on those things on the corners, usually in the alleys right next to those bridges.
Really? Damn.
Yeah, Quail Street out front of that little event hall we looked at. Like,
and they want to ask like $300,000 for them houses,
Exactly, and it's just like, yeah, now I'm good.
It's definitely funny when you start looking at the houses around here, bro.
I saw one, one row home. It literally had like 4 feet in the backyard. It's literally like $325,000,
bro.
And I'm just like, ugh.
So
what?
I learned some shit, going through this process.
Mhm.
Number one is there's just a shitload, bro. I mean, a shitload of completely renovated houses in like North Milton Street, East Lombard, President Street, all types of shit. The houses look great on the inside, bro.
Mm-hmm.
They're like 150. No one buys them, bro. They're sitting on there forever, man. Like no one is buying those homes, dude. I feel bad for the people that put their money there.
Yep.
Another thing I realized is a lot of these homes are old, bro.
Yeah.
Like they're all super old.
Yeah.
So like the house that we're looking at that we put a bid on, like it's 1930. So I'm looking at it, I'm like super worried, but I learned, like little did I know, most of these houses are that old, bro. A lot of them, they just get renovated long as the structure is sound.
Yeah.
They just update it as it goes. You see, like this house I'm in, 1948.
Yep.
So it's like 1930, 1940. I mean, it's still 20 years, but it's not, not crazy. It's still an old ass house.
And that's the other thing. Like I've seen people that purchase these row homes, with like, repetitive, like, Home Depot tile that just like, you squish on real quick. It's not even real stone. It's just varnish,
After I was looking up this house and like we were so happy, but I had to go do all my research, as far as like buying a home that old. And it's like, it's got the pros and the cons, and the pros is the fact that they did build things like that,
a lot more sturdier.
Things are structurally sound. Well, also little things like a 2x4 used to be a 3x5. You know what I mean? Well, it's actually a 1/2 inch. So they call it a 2x4, but it's like really 1.5 by 3.5.
Yeah.
It used to be 2.5 by 4.5.
Yeah.
So it was bigger and thicker. And of course, like, concrete work and shit like that, that's all laid by hand, not no machine type shit. But then you have your issues, as far as like, you don't know what the electrical, you don't know what the piping, you don't know a lot of these things. So that's what I really had to get into with this house though. And I was thankfully I had Brian, which man works for the state as an electrician. So that was a great resource, of him just like explaining things to me. Gonna get him to come through and check it out for sure, but just him explaining to me like signs I could look for to see if things have been done, So I was like learning little things. And he was saying like, things like ceiling fans, what are the, appliances that are hooked up, the prongs and shit like that. And that was all, good signs. So I'll get to the bottom of with that. The roof looked like it had been redone. It's got a water heater in it. It's got central heat. So it has like these updated things. Problem is you never know that you can't, like, I went to go try to find like these public records they swear you can get in Maryland. Dude, it's super hard, bro. I created an account on like 4 different fucking Maryland sites. And every time I got to the bottom of it, like it would never be information I wanted. The only time you really get information you want is if you pay. On like other sites and shit. And I'm like, it's so sick, bro. Like they got the info and I just can't get it unless I pay,
Yeah,
that's
nice,
like to see like had piping been redone.
Yeah.
Like you're not gonna be able to see what a homeowner purchased for his house, but you can see like that area, like had the sewer lines been redone and shit like that. Cause like that's all things that I don't know about them because I don't
or even think about it in a house.
It's also a thing that hit me. It's fun, how we always talk about like after 9 o'clock, my phone used to be free, and shit like that. There used to be a thing in the houses. I don't know if you remember, but remember when, if someone was taking a shower, you flushed the toilet, it would become scalding hot, bro.
Yeah, or
That's
super
that's
cold.
like old style piping that did that shit. Nowadays they figured out things to solve that.
Yeah.
Also, insulation, that's a thing that has improved. They've figured out way better foam sprays and shit now. Like the older houses usually don't have much, if any, insulation, but the foundation's good. They've redid the siding. It's the aspect of the property. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just viewing it like what makes sense to me. And I'm sitting here and I'm looking at this house that I'm in. I gotta show you this house, for real.
Yeah, I gotta check it out.
And I'm looking at the house I'm in, and this house they're saying estimated 148 value. The house that we put an offer in is 160. So I'm looking at how much more that house has than this one. And it's like the value that they're giving this house is in very little things, like that extra bathroom. That adds super value. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Things like that. And I'm sitting there thinking dude, this house is not even nicer than the house that I'm well, I can't say buying, but putting the offer in, It's a 2-bedroom, right? So there is that one less well, technically this is a 2-bedroom with a basement, but it's, you could call it a finished basement, I guess.
Yeah.
Where this has a basement, but it's not finished. And it's a 2-bedroom upstairs. So kind of the same thing. It's got more room as far as that goes. The living room and everything. It's a more updated kitchen. It's got all better, new appliances, new granite tile and shit like that.
Right.
All this shit. And it's a bigger house altogether with more land. Just with the backyard, I have 2 parking ports and 2 sheds out back, bro. One's a brand new shed, literally still got the stain on it, And I'm thinking just for that alone, how is this only worth, 10 grand more than this house? This house is attached to a row home.
Yeah.
Not even because of North Point Boulevard. So it's literally 5-10 minutes away from here. 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's okay, well, it's the same exact area. This is a single row home, with updated everything. I'm man, I feel this is being slept on right here. It doesn't make sense with the way things are adding up. Then
Just closer to things.
Then I'll find out it's a whole nother lot back there, bro, to build an entire another home back there. That's part of my backyard.
Yeah.
And I'm what? I was already looking at the house without that, bro. You just don't fucking you got to see this lot, dude. I straight up, bro. Trying to think of the best way to describe it. It's bigger than a basketball court. It's 2 basketball court, but a full. Let's say a full court basketball court and some change, maybe a full court and a half.
Yeah, you could build a house back there.
I'm just straight whatever I wanted, but I'm just when I'm looking on it on the realtor thing, they're not even taking pictures of the shit. I couldn't even see back there and shit. I'm just bro, do you not even understand what you have here? It's all this room. It's weird though. So it's a corner house, right? And then out back is my backyard. And then there's a neighbor right here. So I don't have a neighbor this way. It's it's a dead end street. So it's just an open street. A neighbor right here. The backyard goes this way though. So it goes behind other people's backyards, but super wide, wider than this whole house, all the way back. So it's weird. All this, I gotta show you. It's weird. It's all this room is mine, but there's backyards on both sides.
Yeah.
But it's not a little narrow alleyway or nothing. It's 30 yards wide, it's crazy. This little chunk of land. I'm what the? I'm did he buy this land and then that corner and he built his house right there instead of right here? That's the only thing I can think. Because I'm what are you doing with all of this fucking extra land? That just how did you get through their land? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I have to show you. I don't think I'm properly explaining it. If you could picture
it goes back behind his house.
It's but multiple homes. So there's home. 3 homes right there.
Yeah,
my home's right here. It's my backyard goes right here, then it goes through. It's it looks like it should be their backyards, how mine is normally without the extra thing. It goes as far back as theirs look like it should.
Right.
But somehow he also got this lot that took half of their yards all the way down for 40 yards, bro. It's 40 by 30. It's crazy.
That's a nice plot. It's a nice plot, bro.
I just don't understand how he got it. Because if I'm anybody else there, I'm dude, I'm not selling you this extra. Well, I'm just gonna try and buy that myself. He must have just had some money or so. I don't even know. I don't know how that happens. You got to see it. It's weird. It's an L.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it works, but I mean, like, there are plots of land that aren't initially up for grabs at first, and then like they come in, some company comes in, gets the rights, clears it out, and the original house plots just didn't sell that land with it. No one had that landed before. It wasn't even developed or zoned for commercial property. Then one day they're like, hey, we're gonna fit another house in here and sell the lot. I'm not sure how you do that, but you come in and clear it out. They buy that from the government, whoever it is. And then they're like, look, we're gonna sell it to a company to put a home here. They put a home there, and then next thing you know, it's all back there. Bro.
Yeah, Rodney's family had a chance to do that before with that little park that's next to their house.
Oh, yeah?
They could have bought that, bro, but the city wanted like $230,000 or something crazy, and they were like, "We're doing it for like, I don't know, $100,000 and maintain it basically." And they were like, "No."
Yep.
But like, you're absolutely right. That's probably what happened. Because when I think about, like, they were saying like 153 basically is their threshold to be able to clear what they owe with the bank. And I was like, that doesn't make sense. If you own this house for a decade, you did renovations. Why would you have did renovations and not been able to clear your loan on your bank before anything else? Like, you got this threshold of like 153, you're selling for 160, you got a threshold of 153 with the bank. That makes me think exactly what you're saying of maybe they pulled out another loan that's included with all of that on that plot of land right there.
Yeah, possible.
And maybe that's why they didn't work it. They just kind of were like, hey, it's up for grabs. It was $7,000 or whatever it is. Grab it.
Yeah, not sure.
You know what I was just thinking though when I seen that, man? I'm like, bro, I can just work back here, man. I can get a fixer-upper now. I can do a schoolie project if I want, bro. I have the land, dude. Yeah. Dude, if you want to do a schoolie project, you can come park your shit right there,
I have a space right there.
You got to see it, bro. I have like a good-ass chunk of fucking land in here, dude. It's crazy, bro. Like, it could be a junkyard. Like, that's like the amount, you know what I mean?
And you just do whatever you want right there, You can do a little gardening, some shit,
I was thinking
farming, whatever.
Let's just say if me and you, we find some deals, like some campers that are older or something. You know what I mean? You grab that motherfucker, bro. We're just renovate them things, man.
Pop them bitches up and
get them things looking good,
And we can finish your basement.
Frame
that bitch up.
I do need help, bro. I'm calling upon all the boys. I was actually thinking about maybe starting, I hate to say it, a TikTok, bro, or like another YouTube or something, bro, and just kind of like recording myself knowing nothing, trying to like renovate that property, basically. There's certain shit that like you're not allowed to do without like licensed people. Like I'm not allowed to do like electricity work.
You can't do a water heater.
You can't do a water heater.
You gotta be like insured license, whatever, blah blah blah.
No, but like I could like knock that concrete up on my basement. I could put drywall up on my basement. That's all they did right here.
You can fix your sink. You can put new toilets in. You can redo the bathroom.
Right, right. All that's been redone.
Finish the basement.
All that's been redone. That's the great part. Like, I thought I sent you the house. I don't know if you checked it out, but
yeah, look through the pictures.
Yeah, so like it's all that's renovated. Like as far as like new stove, new fridge, new kitchen, new bathroom.
Yeah, frame that basement up though.
All that. Did you see the basement? No, they didn't post pictures of the basement on that,
unfinished.
Which was another thing, but I viewed that as like, man, I was happy that they said basement because I didn't know it had a basement. So when they said that, I'm like, now it's 3 stories with that lot, with the backyard, with 2 parking spots, with 2 sheds. I'm like, this is like exponentially increasing in my mind of what I'm like. I'm purchasing multiple things here. I'm loving it. Yeah. And I went down there. It's like, that's what a washer and dryer at. It's real shitty. It's like, I had to get, my boys over there. I got you and Brian there, maybe write a light or 2 for me. Kind of go back, light it up some, man.
Yeah, that's something you can do. Basically.
Yeah, easy.
And then run that off
anything, and then just drywall. Because at one point, this was probably all gray. Yep. This was just all gray in here, concrete. Yeah, and they just drywall.
Yeah, exactly. Fill the drywall quick.
And then that's wood because it's framed out.
You frame it up. I mean, if it's just brick, or concrete down there, you just frame it up real quick.
Yeah.
Well,
I was thinking like the one thing they did.
If you want.
I was thinking maybe I could try and add a bathroom, bro, like they did.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? Easily, and add that value to my home.
Yep, and then like if you got some under the stairs, you can put like a little storage thing like that. You frame it out. And have set up like a separate washroom area.
Right.
Do all types of shit with it. Yeah. Yeah, that's how you increase the value of your property.
You know what I mean?
Really raise the value of it.
I've been all over that. I'm like, I've looked up every hack.
Yeah.
I gotta show you this like little garden spot too. I got. It's like a zoned out garden that's already bricked up.
It was right outside the backyard.
Yeah, they got mulch in there. I'm like, no, I don't care if they say landscape and adds to your value. These get some tomato plants, bitch. And these get some cucumber, some jalapeno,
Yeah.
some parsley. We finna get some shit right
Yeah,
there.
bro.
I'm gonna do a
Fresh
bigger
herbs
one
out
in that
there.
open area, though. You know what I mean?
Yep,
I got a lot
exactly.
of plants, man.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm gonna need the boys.
Exactly. I mean, like, frame a basement real quick, bro. That'd be easy as
That's
shit.
not
Straight
bad,
up,
right?
you
That's
know.
what I was thinking.
Drywall, it's spackle. I've never done it, but man, straight
Well,
up. Come on, how hard can
I
it
thought
be?
that'd be cool because I know
How
you
can
were
it
talking
be?
about wanting to do things like that.
Yeah,
Like some
exactly,
projects,
man.
You know, I was like, all right,
Exactly.
that'd be perfect. You know, try and do some things, man.
You do this. We got like a little closet thing going on. You know, just like little things like that. You know, it'll be straight up. Like, I mean, like, I think pretty sure over here with that, like, they probably covered up the vents or some shit. You know, don't fucking know.
Yeah, you're probably
know?
right.
But
That looks good though.
yeah,
I like that.
yeah, you know, did it up real quick.
I'll do something like that.
It just no. Look at it. It's so weird how like it's just like, you know, here and then like
Right,
it's, you know, a little
yeah.
indent, then like big indent. It's just, I don't know.
No, you make sense.
You could tell it wasn't you could tell it was unfinished though.
Yeah,
I mean,
why they
you
had
also
to
had to
do
do
that like
this
that.
for the water valve. Yeah, so
Yeah.
you could tell they just finished it up real quick.
Oh, they did a lot of things,
Put
like
the
just like
tile up.
upstairs. You know?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
It's like, well, at this point, like I said, they're raising the rent on us, you know. And for me, I'm just like, bro, to me, like, I don't even really like this. I mean, it's not a bad house. Don't get me wrong. I'm not bashing it, but like, I don't like this house. Like, this house doesn't make me like, I wouldn't even buy this house. You know what
exactly.
I mean? I wouldn't buy this house, bro. Not for 140, not for 130.
That's the thing. When I looked at row homes, bro, I was like, hell no, not buying a row home.
Not a row home,
not
dude.
buy a row home.
But yo, you know what row homes go for? 140. That's what they go for right here. 140, 150. Fucking single family homes, 160, 170.
Yep.
10 more grand,
with
bro.
some land, with a little plot of land on it. You know what I'm saying?
You're gonna have it, bro.
Yeah. It sounds like a nice spot, bro. I mean, you're excited for it, you know. I mean, I know you're a smart dude, so you know.
It
you
sucks
feel
because
good
I'm
about
not smart on this, you know. And like Kay's like asking me, she's like, you know, we gotta do this, we gotta do this, and I'm like, Kay, I can't sit here and tell you okay, because I'm not that guy. To me, like we've been going through a process for like the last 3 weeks. I've crammed 100 hours of knowledge. And I never wanted to learn this before, so I never looked up stuff like that. I knew nothing about it. And in 3 weeks, I probably did 100 hours of knowledge on this. I watched every video you can watch, you know. And she asked me these questions. I'm like, I can't tell you yes because I don't know, to be honest with you. Like, at the end of the day right now, I'm not informed enough to make this decision. But I honestly don't think I could get there without, like, really understand the process and maybe, like, a year, you know. It's like, basically what a realtor knows, you know, is what you're trying to learn. It's like, what's that mean? You know, what's that? What does that mean in that? As far as I'm looking at it, it's like, tell you what I'm not doing is renting another home, you know?
Yep.
I'm like, man, I might as well go get this property under my belt. Worst come to worst, I'll sell this motherfucker. I don't care if I break even, you know, buy another property, rent it out, whatever it is, try to get another one going. But the most important thing was just, man, that land, you know? I'm just like,
that's what, like,
this is everything I need.
That's why, like, you know, I was talking to Bray, you know, I just like I want to do something similar, but like I want to buy it somewhere else, you know. I want to go somewhere else, and that's just how I feel. I want to, you know, go to a different state or city, you know. I've been thinking, I just want to go out west for real, you know, to the west, you know, the western part of the U.S. somewhere,
right?
You know, just
100%. I'm 100% with you.
I just, you know,
the way that literally was working with me was like, you're in a different situation, you know.
Yeah.
We're paying $1,100 a month to rent to be here, you know? So to me, I'm looking at it like, okay, well, I'm discussing, you know, my plans to leave with you, you know, my time date. And it's like, okay, well, I'm still 2 years out no matter what. I'm about to give another 20 grand to a landlord. Yeah. At least 20 grand, you know? But 30 grand to a landlord.
It's an investment.
So to me, I'm like, man, at least I can start putting something. I can work on this myself, whatever it may be, rent it out. And now I can build, you know, my camper, whatever I want to do. And I can take that vacation to go out to wherever it is, 2-week vacation to go to Montana or whatever it is to view this land and say, okay, I like that land. Come back. My home's up for sale. You know, like that's how I'm kind of picturing it now.
Yeah.
Just don't want to pay rent, dude.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, you know, that's what, you know, when me and Bray when we were talking about it, and we were like, all right, so you know, we're going to move out by this time frame, you know, 2 years. But a year ago when we talked about it, you know, it was like, all right, we're going to move out in like what, another year or two. Okay, well, we're gonna rent, you know, what's the deal with that? Okay, well, let's look at the average rent around here. You know, I mean, in most places close by or even near in the city, you know. Okay, well, you know, you're talking about 1,200, you know, depending on whatever's included from there. So let's just say like maybe 12 to 1,400, probably what you're expecting. Okay, well then, you know, look around, you know, maybe buying a home's cheaper. Okay, well, you get a 15-year, 30-year mortgage, something like that. You know, may end up having like an $800 mortgage, and on top of that, you may end up paying $1,200 maybe, you know, with everything that you have to pay for, you know, and some cables, some internet, utilities, appliances, electric, gas, whatever you need. You might end up paying that same amount, and you're putting it into the home, you know. And like I said, with my situation, like my grandma said, she would, she'd be able to help me get a home.
Right.
Use like with like her credit kind of like cosign, whatever how it works. And that might, it might be a good avenue. But like it was just so hard when I was looking at these properties around here. I'm like, and seeing what the cost was and like for like where I am and. I mean, like I'm equating them to other places, and of course, there's those prices in other places for reasons, whether it be, job opportunities or lower wages overall because of the government or whatever the case may be. But everyday average people make it happen, do it every day in these cities. I could, if I could just find somewhere I want to go, I should be able to go and just make it happen, make it work out there. You know what I'm saying? Like what's the other option? You go out there and then you just like foreclose a home or some shit on you. It's like that won't be an option. It's like I'll work fucking 80 hours on Uber if I have to, if I make it work.
You're talking about from moving to a whole another state?
Yeah, exactly.
That's really the problem with that is like, like for instance, you've never really done any research on that. Like you really don't know where you want to go, right? You wouldn't know like where you would want to go. You have to figure out and shit like that.
No, I was looking at Colorado, and Utah. And I even looked in New Mexico because it's, they say it's like really cheap out there. You can find some decent stuff, but there's nothing there. Nothing in New Mexico. And Utah and Colorado are some of the most expensive states in America to live in. So I mean, already I'm starting off on like, expensive terms where I'm like,
would you take your grandma? You take your grandma there?
That's the other thing, it's like if she wanted to continue to live with us and, Bray was talking about it. And I'm like, well, if I was gonna make a decision like that, if she wants to come with us, like, and if not, I guess it'd be up to like my sisters from that point on, from there. But she can come with me if she wants to come. It's like if you want to come live in wherever, I'm saying, wherever from there, it's like you can come. The trip might be a little hard for you, but I mean, like we'll get it out the way and maybe even put you just on a plane.
Yeah. You think she would?
I don't think so.
That's what I'm thinking. She wouldn't leave her grandchildren, right?
Yeah, she would want to stay here with the grandchildren and probably Lauren and Bridget. They would want to stay together with them and whatnot. But I mean, I'm just like I just really want to go somewhere else. Like if I'm gonna, and I told Bradley we're gonna settle down and buy a home. And like and kind of like stay somewhere and put in that investment into something. I kind of want to go somewhere else and do it. And like figure out where we can agree or something, and just try to find somebody to make it work. You know.
And right now you have nothing but time. I mean, as far as you guys, I mean, I don't know how exactly your finances work there. I mean, we got to discuss that on here, but what I mean, whatever it is, like obviously you're not paying a full rent or whatever it is. You're splitting it up, however it may go. You're breaking it away. So right now, I mean, is the time, to make that right decision.
Exactly. Exactly.
For me, I'm looking at it as more as like a flip. That's kind of how I'm seeing it as like, man,
yeah.
I'm moving into this house I'm not putting $1 down. I don't owe nothing on this house but inspections. That's all I pay, is the inspector. So it's like, okay, I'm going into a house with nothing paid, basically. I'm looking at it like, man, I don't care if, like, I'm talking about flipping, like, I don't care if I make $1. Literally the fact that I'm in my own home, right? So I'm dealing with my own problems here. As long as something doesn't go wrong in your home, God forbid, your home's only going up in value. We've talked about that before, like everything, like on average in 21224, it's 6% of what home values go up, So to me, I'm like, I don't care if that's 12% increase in 2 years is just the closing cost for whatever it is, If I could break even on this, I'd be happy to go. I'd make 10, 20 grand, whatever it is. For me, it's about like, I'm looking at like, man, I can really be in your position if I move here, right? Where I could be like, okay, I'm not in this spot where they can raise this rent whenever they want. I'm on a month-to-month lease. I have a lot of issues that they won't deal with. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things I want to do that I can't do, So I'm like, okay, I go here. I'm not paying $1 more a month neither. Yeah. If anything, I'm paying less, Still paying off this thing. And basically being able to, move on in whatever it is, 2 years, 3 years time. I may buy another home, bro, but I'm hoping by then have my camper, have my truck, go on a few vacations, man, to a couple of these states, and see like, how do I like it? Because I don't want to buy a home there without ever being there. Like, I'm scared of that. Yeah. I don't want to buy land without ever being there because you might just go there and the vibe is just not what you think. I told you about how when I got to certain places, I felt the vibe, That's what I want to be able to do. So like, yeah, I would love to say like Utah's cool. Colorado's cool,
I mean, like,
But I just couldn't go there without having been there before.
I mean, a lot of my ideas, kind of like center around like, just being closer to like, like these beautiful kind of like nature reserve areas, you know what I'm saying? Like, like being closer to like, like Washington, and, some of the parts of California and stuff. And, being, close to like Utah and Yellowstone and all these different types of areas.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And you got, maybe you could drive to Mexico right there, down a little south, a little further. And just kind of like, experiencing like, just like, a lot of like the beautiful landmarks are kind of like it has to offer, and just kind of like I would go there and like I mean, of course I'm gonna be living there, but like my mind would be like, other than like working or whatever I'm doing at the time, would be like spent going to like these outdoor places, just being kind of close to those types of vicinities. And like that's kind of like the home is just more of like the HQ, and like I'm trying to like go see like these huge like beautiful parks and shit in like Colorado, like the Rockies and the mountain
yeah.
ranges and fucking
Yeah, I love it. I guess what I would say is, man,
canyons of Utah.
maybe book a trip there before you buy a home
Oh yeah,
there. You know what I mean?
exactly.
Go there for 2 weeks.
That's why I'm still working on that Utah shit.
Check out some neighborhoods. See the vibe,
Yeah.
see the feel.
That's why I like like
I mean,
that,
you can always sell. You can always rent. You can
exactly.
always rent it out.
Exactly,
Move on
yeah.
to wherever
Yep.
you want to move on to.
And I mean, that's why like I was like planning that trip and trying to hit those 3 states or so real quick. I mean, like the cool thing about like Utah is like Salt Lake City is like right there, and like Salt Lake City is like surrounded pretty much by mountains, by mountain ranges, pretty much, and like that's where like the national parks and shit are all like right there with the big city. So I mean, like you make a trip into Salt Lake, see what that's like, and do of course do more research and like go from there, get some more trips in before making such a huge decision, But it's what I'm thinking about now, like it's a kind of like the direction, like if anything, like if I'm gonna buy a home and like trying to like sell somewhere, it's like I might just go somewhere different, and then like and then like you said, sell or rent or eventually kind of like try and make that leap somewhere,
Yeah.
Just
No, I like the vision, bro. I would say take your time, man. Get your guys' finances right. Take a trip there. Might take a trip 2 states if you got to. Go to different spots, see if you guys like it. Really decide. Probably first talk it over grandma. See if she will move to another state. Because then if she says no, you ain't even got to worry about that then. You're like, okay, I'm going here. Shit, I never shared this. You say, okay, I'm going here, and that is what it is now. I ain't got to look for, the proper spot for Gma.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like I said, there's more research to be done, but it's like that's just how I feel. Like I just don't like Baltimore City. I don't like Maryland very much. It's one of the richest states, but it's also one of the most expensive. If I'm gonna be in an expensive state, maybe I might as well be in an expensive state like Colorado or some shit. Maybe deal with some harsh winters, but just to have access to that beauty, that kind of like nature and just the new environments and just whatever. I feel like I could go anywhere and just like get a job and start making some decent money. I feel really good about it. I mean, like, and then like when I think about it and how I feel about it, like, it doesn't feel too scary, because I just feel like I'm ready to kind of just get away from Baltimore City. It's just such a
100%,
place,
bro. 100%. Hate it here. Like, I mean, for me, I always told you, like, man, I don't want to buy a house here. I definitely ain't trying to raise a family here,
But it makes sense,
Yeah, well, for me, just financially, bro.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
the fact
The
that like I
finances.
can reduce my, my payments and actually own this home. I'm like, all right. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? I owe $5,000. I owe $10,000. Like, all right, I'll deal with that. Because I'm saving up money now. I'm able to save up money now.
Yeah.
As long as I keep my finances the same, I already know I'm gonna save $1,000 a year on water. You know what I mean? So that's just good to know. But little things like that, keep my finances at the very least the same. I can accumulate, this wealth over, these next 2 years, which I'm already planning going in order to be able to purchase these things, and then to make my flip. Then, ideally.
Yeah.
You never know what could happen.
Yeah.
Hopefully, the house doesn't crumble on me, fall apart.
That's the thing. Like I remember, like I was talking about a while ago when like me and Ray were like trying to make a plan, like think about what we were doing. Like the buying the home, financially makes the most sense. If you're staying, around here for, however long, it's like it makes sense to do that because most time, your mortgages will be lower, your overall costs will be lower. You'll be able to save some more money, and it's an investment. Whereas a rentals and rent is a bill, or it's like pretty much like nothing. Like whereas when you're putting money into the house, it's an investment. It's over time. It's accruing. It's gonna appreciate in value. The work you're gonna put into it. Some more. You put some money into the house. When you slap a new roof on there, it adds value to the house.
Right.
When you redo a bathroom, or when you put in new appliances, or you finish the basement, you pave that. Is it rocks, or you pave that fucking car lot, you even it up real quick, put a fucking nice ass roof on top of it or some shit. That adds money to the value, like just it's an investment, and you can work on it. No, there's no one telling you what to do, you don't gotta wait on people to fix it, it's just a lot of freedom that comes with it,
It's also, yeah, you're absolutely right. All that's great. For me, it's like kind of is something different too, man, where it's like I feel like I'm already evolving from, anything my family ever was. It was just like my mom never did that,
Yeah.
never took that step of right. To me, I have no visions of living here permanently. But to be able to take that step, we
Yeah.
went through the process. We did it. We
Yeah.
figured out the money. You know what I mean? Bro, all my life, I've never chose the next spot I was going to live. I mean, never in my life, dude. I told you I got evicted fucking 14 times, bro, in 15 years. You know what I mean? And from there, I moved in with Chrissy. I stayed there. And from there, I moved into this home, because we had to basically in the spur of the moment.
Yeah.
And I've always just went to wherever. So
Yeah.
it feels different to actually pick
Yeah.
somewhere, and be like, I do like this home,
Oh, yeah,
I would invest myself into this home,
Mhm.
not as, as we both have mutual feelings towards Baltimore. I mean, if anyone knows, I have no plans of staying here,
Yeah.
For my happiness, I couldn't. But as far as like, man, between me switching to this new job and me getting out of like another thing that I'm unhappy with, like I'm changing my life, dog. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, man.
I'm changing my life and I'm making myself happier.
Mhm.
Like really am doing it, bro, and it feels good. Like
Yeah.
like I said, like I was tired of complaining.
Yeah.
I'm tired of complaining
a-
about the same things.
Yeah, exactly,
'Cause
man.
I keep complaining about Kaplan for years. I was like, I change it, I feel better.
Yeah.
I complain about my home for years. It's like I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna
Get
feel
better,
better.
yeah.
And like hopefully this like inspires me to become like more of like what I want to be. I have land to grow these vegetables that I want to do, to work on this camper, to build these projects that I want to work on. I have this capability now with this
Yeah.
home. I always felt like God got me, bro. And like
And you can still travel. You can still move around. You can still go see the country. It's a home base.
for sure, bro. It's so much bigger than that, bro. Like like when it's like we're looking at these homes and like we I just at this point I just see things differently, and I feel things differently. And we're going through these homes, and so I'm not even looking at what's there. I'm trying to like feel it, man, of like feeling like, is this what my God wants me to do? That's what I'm trying to do when I'm there. And like I come home and like I'm not praying, you know what I mean? But like I'm in this meditation state where I'm like I'm trying to feel is like this God's will. And it's tough. It's tough because you usually don't realize what really God's will is until you did it or you do it. And then it's hard to like kind of like you're like trying to predict the future with like, your spirituality. And so you really can't do it until you feel it. So that's a tough thing. And I'm sitting here and I'm just like, man, I've been able to do this so far. And not saying I've made the best decision all along, but like I have progressed consistently. I'm just like trying to like, I'm just hoping that like God will put it in the way of like, okay, if these things go right, this is meant to be. If these things go wrong, like Kay was like, I hope it passed inspection. I'm looking at like, well, if it doesn't pass inspection, that's my God, telling me that this isn't where he wants me to be. This isn't the move for me right now, So it's like, for me, like bad news is good news, like I'm trying to like take it that way of like, all right, I'm going to make the right decision. Like this, okay, we're already towards this goal of I'm out of the renter mindset. I already know this is a better decision. Like now I'm going to make the right decision. And I don't know why, because I don't have no experience and I don't know anything. And I'm young and dumb still, but I feel like my God gots me, man. And just like I gotta have faith that like if something feels right and something pans through correctly, that like
It's a good
that was
direct.
my process,
Yeah.
that was my process. And like hopefully that helps me just feel one step closer. I think about how much just like my job switches really just made me feel so much happier, and I'm like, maybe this will just be step number 2, of that big ultimate happiness jump. And then
Yeah.
it's like step number 3, that'll come once I get there, figure that out.
Yeah.
Maybe I get my camper going, I get a nice camper, nice size, get my truck, and I'm like, it's like I'm starting to feel like what I thought I was, like you know what I mean? Like I'm
Yeah,
starting to
bro.
like,
Yeah.
okay, we're doing these things now. We're not just
Falling.
stuck. We're not stuck. You
Yeah,
know
you're
what I mean? Like
moving.
that's the
Yeah,
most
you're making
important thing,
steps.
right? It's like I'm
making
not
steps, you're
running for
moving.
20 years. I'm not at the same job for 20 years. Like I'm trying to like make a step,
There's changes,
I'm
there's growth,
trying, bro.
there's
Like,
growth, there's changes, there's
yeah.
steps,
Yeah,
and you're stepping up.
and it's super weird because like I don't have nobody to ask that advice to.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
I have nobody. So like
Yeah.
when like she said like Kay's like, what do you think about this? I'm like, well, I tell her to ask like the guy Dave and stuff. I'm like, ask that guy because that's the only people that I know that have experience with something like that. Nobody in my family, bro, owns their home. Most of them have homes.
And that's why you did so much research the past 3 weeks, because like well, okay, there's no one to give me this, so I gotta go seek it, I gotta go read it, I gotta go find this information, study it meticulously to make the best decision possible.
The best one I can,
exactly, with the most information that you can have. I mean, like the phone, you have access to so much shit, and you can just learn, study what you're looking into, and you're figuring it out as you go. It took those 3 weeks, but like you said, you put in that studying, that
I've improved,
and more than what you went in with.
Exactly.
I mean, like whenever I think about like, especially when you're jumping into something new, it's always intimidating because you don't know anything. But like as you kind of just like learn it, and eventually these things just like we did with the stocks, you learn it.
Yeah,
and of course, in the beginning you
to.
don't really know too much, and the next thing you know, you feel more confident in making better decisions and where to go get information and your mistakes and everything from that point on. You get in, you start learning, you're just like, okay, well that makes a lot of sense. That okay, that connects to that in the house. Okay, wow. It's like, and when you get in, you start doing your projects. You start working on the house. You figure it out. You fix it up. If there's a problem,
it's gonna feel good.
You fix it up, and then boom. It's like, hey, done. It's like it's good. It's like you work on it. It's yours.
It's my problem.
Exactly.
It's my problem. I gotta take care of it, man.
Good problems. If you want to call them that,
but
good problems.
Regardless, scary, right? Scary nonetheless. Big boy decision. I don't have 160,000. No. So it's weird for me to say I bid 160,000. I don't have 160,000. Yeah. I mean, close to it. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't even know why. Like, I don't even like that this is possible. To be honest with you, I really don't. Yeah. But a lot of us would probably never be in homes if it wasn't for things like that. Like just the loan we qualify for, they actually are paying for like a lot of shit. They want you to buy these homes. Yeah. Definitely, like I said, we're not paying for anything, bro. It's crazy.
It's the easiest thing, because like it's like they give you the money on a certain interest rate. It's pretty much a guaranteed investment, and then if not, they still have say you don't make your payments, it's still their home,
right? Oh yeah, they're cashing out.
So it's like it's like that's why banks and like they're kind of like their role they play. Like it's such a deep rooted role they play in the in buying homes. So when you see them do these like weird predatory criminal things, it's just like oh my god, what is going on? Yeah. It's like what like with the like you're like the I mean, like it's all just super scary, man. Because I mean, like of course thinking about it, things, you've seen things, it's just like and you just think about all that, and then you're putting your money into the home, and it's just like just super scary. There's all the ifs, ands, or buts there, but I mean, like you said, bro, you just follow it. You have your faith. You feel it. You feel good. It doesn't pass inspection.
You try to use your intelligence.
Like I said, it doesn't pass inspection. It's like, well, like you said, you're not really wishing for it. It's just like if it's meant to be and it doesn't pass, it's like, hey, red flag right there. I'm glad we didn't buy that home because it wouldn't pass inspection. It's those types of things. So I mean, like, I feel a similar way like you do, where like you just feel like the things like you're life's gonna treat you good. Life's gonna treat
it's not
you right.
all faith though. We also are two
exactly.
learning men.
Yeah, exactly. And
it's not like I just say, "Oh, hope it's right."
And then, like you said, like you were thinking about it, it's like, well, what makes more sense? Is it, well, buying a home makes more sense than renting, all day. Like I say, even if you're only here for 2 more years, like it would just make more sense. You would save money, and then if you walked away and broke even on the home and saved money on the side,
Right,
with your living
exactly.
expenses, it's like, okay, well,
Bam.
I wouldn't have saved
I wouldn't
money
even have saved
renting,
that
and I
much.
wouldn't have even had like that asset, or so it just makes the most sense as well. And then you made that decision. You were like, well, what's the smart decision here? What makes the most sense? Well, buying a home probably makes the most sense more than renting for another 2 years. Like I said, where pretty much every contract that I've seen, they always have in there would say, well, it can go up at any time. It's like, I hate that power that someone has over you. You know what I'm saying? Just
I'm
to
on
be
a
like,
month-to-month lease, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? And that's such like the same thing. Like, I don't like you're saying, I don't like that feeling.
Yeah.
That's how I felt at like my old job too.
Yeah.
It was like anytime it felt like you could just like, fuck me. I was like, they don't give a fuck about me, I don't feel like that at my job now. These people, clearly show me, like gratitude, I'm like, okay, same exact thing with this. Like we had a 2-year lease, but then it became month to month after that. So anytime just like they said, they want to raise the rent, and we just got to be like, okay, with the water bill I told you about, just like, oh, we got to pay it. It's just like, well, I mean, there's nothing I can do. You know what I mean? I'm just in a shitty predicament.
And I mean, it's something small, but I mean, like, 5. It's about come up with 6 years. I mean, 6 years ago, I went and I bought the car. It's on a 5-year loan, by a bank. And I remember when I did it, and I mean, like, I'm sitting there thinking, I'm just like, well, it's like, you're gonna have to, no matter what happens. Let's say, no matter what happens, like, you have to find a way to pay for the car. It's like you'll find a way. Like, it's not gonna just be something that you'll go roll over and just give up. If let's say I was to lose my job for some reason,
right,
COVID or whatever, just like, and I hadn't had paid off yet. I'd say, well, you would find a way to make some bread and pay that shit off. I just feel like I would never just like roll over and have something taken away from me that I've now invested in, like
right.
that.
It's like a motivator,
or like a fucking home. It's like I'll never lose this bitch.
Right.
You go up, you're looking at the loan terms.
Even though I'm in your shitty system.
I'm saying you're sitting here, you're just like, okay, I'm taking this loan on. I understand if you don't pay it, like, it can be stripped from you, but I'll never let that happen.
Right.
I'll never let that happen. I'll find a way. I'll work under the table. I'll fucking work hours on hours a week
Sell my ass
to get this shit. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. And until that moment where like you sell it or whatever the case may be.
I bet
like
a lot of people wish
fail.
they sold their ass before they went homeless. Next thing you know, you're homeless and you're selling ass. You know what I mean? It was like, we said it when we had the house. We're making enough to pay the mortgage.
I have plenty. And we sleep outside.
I never know it sound like that.
And I had to sell less ass. I had to sell less ass to make ends meet in the house.
Ass anymore.
I
have no overhead.
I'm not investing it no more. It's going to drugs.
It's funny how you say like with the evil banks though. That's how I felt, like just knowing that, like they approved us for $200,000. I was like, I bet you would like if I spent every dollar of that. So already in my mindset, I was like, I don't want to spend $200,000 just because you said I could have $200,000. I want to make even a smaller investment than that. Like, okay, I'm gonna go. So we looked at one house, bro, up by Wise Avenue, dude, and those row homes back in the ABCs, bro, on the E Street, Ewald, and they wanted $190,000 for this house, bro. They renovated the shit out of it, but bro, it was still like nothing special. It's like average, like kind of like this house on the inside, and then out back, nothing. Like I come there's rat holes in the back. They got a rat box right there. I'm like, bro, that's not how you sell a house. Like you need your realtor needs to talk to you or something. Somebody's not doing their job correctly. If like I come outside and there's a rat hole and a rat box and you're trying to sell a house that you just newly renovated.
Exactly.
Not only that, but maybe you should have renovated the backyard then and like concreted this thing or something, bro. Because you got this huge issue that like nobody's gonna buy this house, $190,000. Just that whole entire like neighborhood and shit. It was a row home. I'm like, why? I'm not doing this, bro. I'm not doing this, man. Now I ended up going look at this other house next to it. I'm spending $30,000 less. I mean, that's literally years of fucking guaranteed money. Like that's and interest that would add on while I'm doing that. Might be 3 years of payment, 6 years with interest. You know?
That's the thing I'm looking at with like a lot of these homes, closer to the city. I'm looking at them, it's like, man, 250, 275, 280, 290. And I'm just like, what in the fucking shit? Those row homes right there cost $395.
It's the
in
stock
Greektown.
market thing, bro. Where it's like
$395 for them fucking copied and pasted fucking homes.
It's
man.
the stock market thing where it's like, bro, at this point, I can own this company and be like, it's not even worth that, dude. But if people just keep raising it, you know what I mean? There has to be someone that says, dude, that's enough. Like, I think they have to create something like that. They're going to have to create something like a rent cap or a mortgage cap or some shit, bro.
Yeah.
Because you can't just keep having people say, oh, well, 2 years went by, it went up $7,000 a year. It's worth $14,000 more.
6%.
So for like, what the fuck, bro? Like, that's not how it works. The house might have deteriorated.
And then like I said, you get those crazy things like in San Francisco, where like, 1 bedroom fucking studios were $4,000.
It's insane, bro.
Like it's like,
and people pay for that.
Sometimes people have to find a fucking way.
That's a time where it would be like, bro, I don't care if literally I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm leaving this state.
Yeah, I gotta get the fuck.
Yeah,
out
like
here,
there's
man.
no way I'm gonna say buying's better than renting. I ain't buying there neither. I ain't
Hell
doing
no.
shit
And
there.
that's the thing. Like I'm looking. Like I remember, like there was a video where like this dude went around. He was purchasing a home in California. He's going house to house and showing them and the price tag. I mean, it's like a single family home, one that like you'd find around here, and it's like 1.7 mil. And I'm just like.
Crazy.
For a fucking 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath house type of deal.
Wow.
I'm just like, what the fuck? But you're in California. You're a couple minutes drive away from Hollywood Hills. Like, I mean, it's like, what do you want? What else do you expect from that type of place? So like, that's where it's like, okay, well, maybe you don't like New Mexico. Maybe just live there and then you can kind of travel from there.
I mean, when people start coming, you can't blame them though when it's like when it's about the money.
No,
so you're thinking like, okay, let's say. That spot's right in the middle right there. And then like, so it gets popular and then like people move in all around there. Well, then on the next circle, those prices raised because of who moved in right there. Yeah. And then more people move in right here. And then so on and so on till you're at 160 rows out from where Hollywood's at. That's and people are still like, Hollywood.
That's why I was looking at like some parts of Texas because you see so many people moving to Texas. I'm like, well, you go there, maybe 10 years later, it's like maybe doubles in fucking value. And then you just get the fuck out of there.
Yeah. No. That Texas, I mean, is definitely an option. You see, they lifted their mask.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Yeah. They're the first state to do that, right?
I believe so. I'm not sure. I think there's been southern states that never did have one, but
really,
yeah,
maybe counties or something.
Yeah, and that's the other thing where I'm like, nowadays it's like, why is it so important for like states' rights? You know what I'm saying? It's like. Why just make everything one, under one? You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, just like, because I mean, like, just it's so fucked up when you have something that, like, in a state is different than federally, or it's like I mean, like marijuana or something. It's like, well, in this state, I get fucking life, but I go anywhere, but like they're fucking smoking free joints out in Colorado. Like,
no, I do agree with you on that, but then you have to think about like the counterway, right? Where it's like, dude, like, if it was all one, well, who the fuck's making the decisions then? Congress and Trump? Congress and Biden.
You would still have like your local, but like it would just make more sense. But
they always get overpowered. Like, what if Hogan was like, I can buy these masks from South Korea, and Trump's like, no. Or Biden's like, no, you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, you want the people that are living with you to be the ones that are fighting for you. You know what I mean?
Like, it makes sense.
It feels good. I mean, I get what you're saying. That's why I always propose like maybe 3.
Just get more on the same page,
bro. Why don't we just break down into 3 sections?
Like how, like just get on the same page about some like things. Yeah. Like like you can eliminate a lot of like the different separations.
Yeah, for sure. Like, you're right. Like with the
shit,
like any drug law, like you would think like drug laws, you can't make that just like federally established and updated. That seems like one that should just be like, this is the drug law.
And it's just so crazy how no one in the government wants to be the guy to be like, hey, weed, it's
right.
legal,
But the problem is, so what you're saying though is like weed still wouldn't be legal. You know what I mean?
Right.
If everything was one. Because the federally is still ain't legalized.
Yeah, exactly.
And now you are with 23 states that got it.
Yeah, that's why I just wanted it all to be happening on like the same page, man. Especially with something like weed.
But it can't be Congress, dude. There's like these old bastards that don't know shit.
I just think you can get rid of a lot of like the bureaucratic shit. Like a lot of different things, like highways. Is like, well, each state's responsible for its own highways. Let's say, why can't just the federal government just be like, look, because I mean, some states like in Maryland, the highways are way worse than in somewhere like Texas or something.
But everybody's
have these
always going to make their argument, They're always going to make that argument of like, oh, well, I got, 3 million more people that moved here last year. I need this amount of money. You know, I need more money. I need funding. This is wrong. This is wrong. Like, you do have like these prestige spots. Like, are they going to get special attention because they're prestige? Like, if the Hollywood sign falls over, is that like, oh, right away, even though, you know, a hurricane just struck in Rhode Island or some shit? I don't know, you know, like.
I mean, like, you know, I think all the things like taxes would still like all like come into play where like, you know, like there'd be local kind of like taxes going on to like fund the surrounding areas type of deal. You know,
Right, but you got to know the percentages.
Someone like
though.
California, like they have a higher tax rate and they have a high amount of tax. Plus, they have you know one of the highest populations that rival some countries. So
what
I mean,
I'm saying is though, like you got use case, you got 50 states.
Yeah.
And like they say, there's $100 billion in railroad and highway funding.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to know percentages, because if not, you're saying like you're giving Rhode Island as much as you're giving California.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. They already have like that type of thing in place where like how they split up their federal money. I mean, like maybe you could do better at that, but like I'm not saying like you would change something like that, you know, to like, you know, where you're like, okay, well, it's all one, so every place gets the same amount of funding. You know, I mean, you would still treat it kind of like how you do now,
right? Then you give like,
but just have laws make sense.
I get what you're saying. I'm just trying to think it through. I'm thinking about things. I'm thinking like, okay, Rhode Island's like, say you give them like 200 million, and they're like, bro, by ourselves we could have made 600 million for highways. Like, it has to be beneficial for them too, you know? Like you have to see profits. Really, you have to see profits.
Well, I mean, that's why you have toll booths, you know, that's why you have tolls and shit, you know, and that's why, you know, in conjunction with local and state taxes, you know, fund that type of, you know, thing going on, you know.
I guess what I'll say is that you know, $3 or whatever you give at that toll booth, it's got a long way to go till it hits the Fed Reserve. And I just don't know how many dollars would actually make it. I mean, I see a lot of corruption.
I mean, it makes it.
Like,
I mean,
you need a lot more government workers that are going to be there, like inspecting shit. You got to assume that people are going to thief. You know, like you have to treat Rhode Island how you treat Iran.
That's what I'm saying.
Just like,
that's why I have something like Easy Pass where, like, you know, the people just like, you know, I mean, of course they have people that do that, but I mean, like millions of people drive through that thing every day on 95, you know, and it's just churning up money. And now we have some third party company in there that's making a little side of the profit. You know, and the state's making some money off of that. You know, and that's the type of thing that, like, you know, hopefully goes back into like
who's that third party based out of? Who's that third party?
Well, Easy Pass is all over, you know, all over the East Coast.
Well,
you know?
I want Rhode Island's company to do this though. You know what I mean? If we're giving out budgets if we're giving like federal funds for shit like that, well, I'm gonna create a company right here in my state that you're gonna get to do my work. You know what I mean? I don't want to hear that like California's got the best solar panel company, so then you get them to install solar panels in Georgia.
No,
it's like, nah, bro, I'm gonna have my own shit too, you know, and you're gonna fund this.
Or like the state doing it?
Like the state create it, basically, you know, state create the company. Now we're getting kind of weird, you know, the company, and then it'd be funded federally though. At the end of the day, like you want to solve your own issues still.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to have to wait for another state to do anything.
Yeah.
So even if what if they said like, oh, well, you know, we've got all the fire trucks are in Annapolis. You know, like, that's how I'm kind of picturing it. And it's like, well,
no, see, I think like
that's a lot of shit to spread out, bro. We already don't have enough fire trucks.
That's what I'm saying. Like you already had would keep like, you know, your local, you know, municipality, you know, and all your, you know, fire stations and police stations, like you already have them, you know, and kind of like just like you would not change any of that thing, you know. Maybe you would have more federal investment and more federal agents, you know, around. I don't know. Am I calling for feds to be here? Maybe, you know.
I feel like people would hate it, dude. I feel like there would be no want to increase profits if it goes towards the Fed.
It's just such a weird thing, like, you know, like I think states' rights are still such a big deal, you know.
I think it might be better just the opposite way.
We're all like America, you know. You want everyone to split up into like different countries.
50 states.
Because I mean,
there's 50 states and no federal.
Because like New York and California, like there goes like most of the money that we would ever probably see, you know, from like generated money in the country. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think California can survive on its own resources, bro. It just has the money to be able to export.
I mean, like that's what I'm saying. It's a huge export location. It brings in a lot of money, just like New York brings in a lot of money. You know, it's just like those are like, you know, two of the biggest financial centers, you know, in America. You know? So if you were to make it too localized, you know, then Maryland would probably, you know, ultimately suffer because, you know, you need to help kind of like, you know, move those funds around, you know, kind of spread them out to the Commonwealth. So, you know, I mean, like I said, you wouldn't change too much, but like that's what I'm saying. You wouldn't change too much, you could still have like your local laws and like you can still regulate your own different speed limits and whatnot, but and have your own state ticketing and fining services and all that. You can keep all that type of things, but just like there's more cooperation, communication on federal and state laws, and just like make sure you're always type of like in agreement style, just working and just making like if it's like, okay, well, if something like weed is legal here, it's legal everywhere. It's just like if you get a certain amount of states that vote for it, okay, well, how this many states passed it, well, the majority of the country it's legal. When now, boom, now it's legal weed. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. Is it perfect, or will there be overreach by the federal government? Maybe.
No,
you probably guarantee it, but I don't know. I mean, just like
it's an idea.
It just doesn't make sense.
It's an idea.
It doesn't make sense. There's just so much separation. Texas got
Right.
its own power grid.
But then it's like, then we just go bigger than that, where it's like, well, now we need to just make agreements between Canada and Mexico, because if not, people are just gonna go over that border for whatever we don't give them.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like we say, okay, no weed. People go get weed in Mexico.
yeah, exactly. It's like with like I mean,
So
it's
now we gotta
like
make a 3 trial agreement.
the drinking age is I think is 18 over in Canada, so you can go in Canada, maybe even 16. You go over in Canada, across the border, you got your passport, you can go drink underage and shit, and it's come back. It's like, let's make it 16 here. Everyone drinks.
What should a drinking age be?
I think it should probably be a lot higher. That shit's fucking like just deadly. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
but it's a stimulant though.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a natural human stimulant.
And people have been consuming it for decades, but
they're always.
I think you should stay that 21 age. I don't think you should take it to 16, or at least maybe. You
don't think it's weird they can kill people and not drink?
Huh?
You don't think it's weird that they can kill people and not drink?
What do you mean?
Like an 18-year-old can go kill people?
Yeah, definitely weird, bro. 100%,
drink.
man. 100%.
So should that go up?
Yeah.
To 21?
Yeah, but of course they don't want that.
So what are you saying? 21 is adult now?
I'm not saying 21 is an adult, but I mean it's like
what's your adult age? What would you give it?
25. I feel you.
So now we can't join the army or drink a beer till we're 25.
That's what I'm saying, man. That's never gonna happen. You want them in those prime ages. You know what I'm saying? You want them when they're scared and lost at that young age.
Listen,
and then you turn them into career army men. It's like that's what they want.
Everybody can drink once when they're 16 and throw up. You got to get that in you. You got to get that in you for character development.
Yeah, I mean, like if you're just going by things of like it's
where you just puke.
Where like early alcoholism and binge drinking is just something I would be worried about. I mean, more so than you have nowadays. You can anyone can just
how about
go buy it.
But how about we reverse engineer this bitch, bro? How about straight up we start putting other rules on it, like limit the amount of liquor stores that can be within per square mile.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Did you know there's still dry counties in America
with no liquor store?
Where alcohol is actually banned.
Where what?
Where alcohol is banned.
Still?
Yeah, it's illegal.
Really?
So alcohol. There's dry counties, bro, in America. It's mostly in southern states.
That's crazy.
A couple places in Texas that are dry.
People still make other
places. I think they're called like semi-dry, where like they can only sell like beer.
Just make it illegal for a liquor store to be on every block, basically.
Yeah, it's a certain amount of just
straight up.
Just like you wouldn't allow there to be like a marijuana distributor at every corner,
right?
Exactly. You wouldn't allow that.
Exactly.
Have like certain guidelines in for that type of deal.
Straight up limit that, and bro, you know what else I'd like to see? A limit purchase. I think you should have a limit purchase on how much alcohol you can purchase. Yeah. You should have to get a special permit if you're purchasing, an extreme amount.
Yeah.
You could say like, okay, say you want to, let's say you do need 100 bottles for a house party. Well, then you have to bring in 5 separate people to buy 20 bottles. And even that's a super
just put obstacles, just put obstacles.
Yeah, exactly. Say if that's what you want to do. I mean, just make it harder where like for me, I think you just gotta let people drink, bro. I mean, obviously you don't want a 13-year-old drinking
exactly
and shit like that. But for me, it's like I try to think about myself, and it's hard to do, but I just don't think there's no way you could tell an 18-year-old boy, man, whatever you want to call him, that he can't drink. You just can't do it at that point. He's gonna do it.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Are you gonna invest in stopping him?
That's what I'm saying. Where it's like, it's like I don't think you just make it, you just have an age limit, it's like, it's a little harder when you're that age. You can still get your hands on it. It's not hard. We know it's not too hard, but like, you can't just go willy-nilly buy it whenever you want, if you're going to go do that drink, I mean, like, we're making it a little more difficult for you. That's all. It could be alcoholic,
like reversing ages here, man. Like, I kind of want to push back the license thing, but how can you tell him it? Because he's trying to live his life and he's trying to go do things and go to his job and shit.
Yeah.
How could you tell him to not work for a license, you know?
Yep.
But I don't like, all right. Here's what I think I'm settling on. I think you should be able to drink when you're 18. And I think you should be able to drive until you're 18. That's where I'll settle.
Drive until you're 18. What do you mean?
You shouldn't be able to get your license or
Until 18.
learners, anything before 18. And still have to get, learners and license.
Yeah.
But we can cut down the amount of time you got to hold it for. Because you're older.
Oh, definitely, bro.
You're older.
Yeah.
You're older, too.
And that's why they let you get your permit at like 16 years and 9 months. Because you'll have it
15.
You'll have it pretty
15 and 9 months.
Bro. Oh, is that what it is?
So you can drive at 16 years old.
Yeah, because you got to hold it for like
you can legally drive.
Hold it for 2 years or some shit, don't you?
Nah,
9 months. 9 months is what it is.
You can legally drive at 16 years old, bro. You can go 80 miles an hour on a highway.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying 18, you're even the best person, but 16, dude, there's no way.
I remember when the trade school.
And then like your daddy buys you like a Mustang GT or something.
I remember with the trade school, and this one dude had like a Dodge Dart that got like souped up with like a turbo and stuff. It was pretty fast. And I remember the dude, he's 17, 18 right there driving. He's like, yeah, I got my license. When I was 16, I've been driving ever since. Dad bought me a car. I'm just like, it's just, cool. Yeah, sweet dog. It's just,
you ever see that guy who goes up to people in their cars and he's like, "What do you do for a living?"
Yeah.
You ever see when he went up to that one guy? He goes up to one guy. He goes to a high school in like the most expensive spot in California. He goes to a high school in the morning when all the cars are pulling in, and like it's crazy what these teenagers are pulling in, bro. Like, what Porsches, like all type BMWs and shit. This one guy pulls up in a straight Rolls Royce, bro, and he comes up. He's like, "What do you do for a living?" And like you can tell it's a real reaction, Like he's like, he's like, I dipped it. He said, one, you dip in a little early to your dad's trust fund. And 2, a little bit of insider trading. And he pulls off. And it's like, yeah, that's what they're doing, bro. Yeah, that's what they got. Trust funds, Rolls Royces, insider trading. Yeah. And people tell me to pull my bootstraps up. Yeah. And I'm from a motherfucker that ain't never had boots on.
Text that
crazy,
kid.
Man.
Text that fucker.
Pisses me off, man.
Text that motherfucker.
I was going off on Dave. We met up last weekend, man. I was going through all this with him. I'm like, going through with the minimum wage thing, and it's like cool with Dave because you can actually make progress, Yeah. He always tells me to be a politician. I'm like, I suck a no dick, Dave. I'm drunk as shit. I'm like, I suck a dick to move up, But
House of Cards style,
talking like minimum wage, And I was like, I'm explaining to him, and he had that. I'm gonna spark this. He had that classic, I hate to say it, but conservative Republican output where it was like, I did it. You got to go out there and get it. I did what I had to do to go do it. And instead, I tried a different path, like you said, trying to improve the way that I talk to people, coming from, the criticism I got from you. It was good, And we're trying to convey it more properly. I was trying to let him get out his thoughts, and then me take that in and go, but here's what you're not thinking about, And he's like, yeah, pull it up. And I'm like, well, I went with the prison people, I'm like, well, what do you do about people that get out of prison? They want to do right, Dave. Like they made a mistake, and they just want to do right. Like they really do want to better their life. Like he's like, well, I think they should have the bare minimum. They should go out there and work themselves from the bottom. I'm like, I totally agree. Bam. Right. So I'm like trying to find these spots. I'm like, yeah, you work from the bottom. Exactly. I'm like, so let's just say he should never have anything but the bottom. He was a murderer that got out in 25 years. He should never have nothing but the bottom. Shouldn't he still make enough to be able to get food and pay for his housing? And that's where you just stump him. There's just no answer. It's like, yeah, because if not, he's going to go back to being a criminal. And who's he going to be a criminal to? Not the people that are poor with him. The people like you who are hiding out here in $300,000 houses and shit. Like that's the people that they come out and break into your house and shit. You prevent it from the beginning and hopefully it doesn't come all the way up here. He's like, it does make sense. I was like, thanks, Dave. I was like, it was good to be able to get through to him. Funny because we were talking and he was saying, let's spark this. It's a little oily at the end. That's why I put it out. But we were talking and we were talking about like Rockefeller and Bezos and these people. And I was saying how I was telling you, like, man, I think these people are fucked up people. And he's like, you need these people, to innovate for it to happen. And it's funny, bro, because without me even saying it, when he got done with that rant, of like, he's like, you need these people for these things to happen. He's like, if these people don't exist, we'll do it, but it's going to take another 500 years. And I thought that was so funny because that's the first person I ever heard accept that, which is exactly what I told you, where I was like, bro, we would do it. I'm good. I was like, it would take longer, but we would do it, And like, here he is saying that you need these people, but that we would do it. Who cares if it took longer? If you didn't have to fuck over every small business in the way and put your foot on a poor man's neck and have slaves and do, immigrant labor and all these other fucking things.
Let's talk about what Amazon did to get where it got here.
Right, exactly.
Undercut small bookshops and operate at losses. That they can sustain over a period of time and remain solvent longer than they could. And they buy them up.
Yep. Take all the business away.
Exactly.
And he's saying you need these people. And that's what I'm explaining. I'm like, Dave, you came from, the 60s to 70s. You guys like having those mom and pop shops. That was a staple of the community, go to a candy store, little things like that, the laundromat. And here you are saying you want this one company to have all of that. I'm like, it's $1 trillion in GDP. I was talking to him about how, like we said with the post office before, like, why can't the post office provide that service? It's not impossible. If he can do it, then we can do it. Like, this guy, Jeff Bezos, he's not everything, bro. If he can do, the problem is it's a mental thing, bro, where he doesn't view himself on that level. Where I was saying to you before, of like, to me, I get mad that Elon can tweet buy Bitcoin and it's against the law, but if I tweet it, it's not. Just because of stature and character. I don't view people like that. He does, where he's like, me and you aren't Jeff Bezos now. I'm like, bro, I'm not those people because I don't want to be those people. Why? What are you saying? Just because I could be Jeff Bezos, I have to be, or I should be? Just because he has all the things that you think are valuable in life, that means that, because I didn't do it, I can't do it. That's how you view something. That's a fucked up way to look at something. I can say that man has everything that a materialistic man could want, but to me, he has nothing of value. I was like, you think, I don't know. But you think, Jeff Bezos' son thinks his daddy is great? Is Jeff Bezos with his son all the time? I'm like, he's got $50 billion. How come he just don't spend every day with his son now? And what advantage to it does it come where it's about human progression? That's what I'm saying. It's this ego thing they throw on there, bro. What about your family, your friends? You're literally leaving on business trips. You've already made enough money for every friend and family, great grandchildren to be billionaires. You've made so much money, bro. From here, you can make investments and sit back and spend every last minute.
You can change, environments,
whatever you want. But regardless of all of that, regardless of what you can do and change, bro, you can spend time with your family. No matter what, those people are not spending as much time as they could with their family if they didn't have those titles. At the end of the day, he's giving up time with his children, with his wife. Same thing with Elon. Same thing with all them guys. Those aren't things that I value. I don't want to do that with my life. I don't want to leave my children, especially if I'd already reached these pinnacles of success. But now from his eyes, I can't do it because I haven't done it. No, I won't go step on, some corner store's neck, fund something illegally. He's talking about Donald Trump, go get immigrant workers to build my tower. I won't do these wrong things. I want to do the right thing. I don't want to be that person. I don't envy that person. But you think I have to because he's Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Man, ain't shit to me.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's a bad guy or anything, but you ain't shit to me until you prove you got these moral code boxes. That's what I'm about. I'm to see what's your compassion like when I spend a day with you. How do you hold a conversation? What's your intellect level? All of these things, I don't think just because you got money and you made these businesses, it doesn't mean to me you're a good person. It doesn't mean you're a successful person.
Don't mean shit. It
could have ruined you. Yeah. It ruins a lot of people, bro.
Yeah. It
ruins a lot of people, man.
You could have been corrupted,
But to him, it's like, I can't do that, and I can't explain to him because that's how he looks at it. But I don't have that feeling about myself. I feel like I am Jeff Bezos. I am Elon.
And then not only that, but with Jeff Bezos, it's like, you would just simply look at worker conditions, what he would be able to do for his working conditions, and
If he just took less profit.
And when he could pay
Right,
people, and
right.
he could take care of employees, and it could be one of the best companies to work at.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But like
Instead,
straight up, you're
profit
running like
margins.
a slave. You know, it's just about turning people. I just
So
need
he can
bodies. He just needs bodies.
So he can make $100 billion.
That's the thing. He just needs bodies in that fucking warehouse. He don't
He's got
care.
so much
That's what I'm
money.
saying.
He can
Exactly.
give every worker $1 million.
I'm saying, so you hear shit about them fucking piss bottles and shit. You know what I'm saying? Because they need to keep up that efficiency rate. It's like, come on, man. You know, it's like you can do better.
Dude,
you know?
You got maximum production and no culture output. That's what you got on that title, baby.
Exactly. Exactly. You could
Suicides to come for sure. Or terrorism. Terrorism, bro. Seriously. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody snaps in one of these conditions one day and kills a manager.
Yeah.
Maybe even off duty, not even at the job.
Like shooting
at the bar or something.
Straight up mass shooting type of style, you know? We've seen people crack all different types of ways.
You know, like, and it just sucks because like he's so much older, and it's like I can't really explain that to him. I sound like I'm making an excuse up. That's what it sounds like, like, oh yeah, you think so, kid. You think so. Why can't you have as much confidence in me as I do in you?
Yeah.
Because to me, you're Jeff Bezos too, I would never say anybody isn't that person. I don't think these people are nothing until they prove that, I value like you because I see you all the time. I know the person you are, If someone just told me what you are, I'd be like, oh, sounds cool, but he's not cool until I meet him and say he's cool. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, read shit. Like, there's so much shit people read where it's like little dumbass shit. Remember people was believing that shit with Keanu Reeves where like he would leave $100,000 for people on the train station and shit. And you're just like, do these people want to believe these things? Like these little dumbass things. You're just like, wish I could do that. Like, what a weird mindset you guys have.
Thing, like
you're so entrapped, bro. I just been thinking about things from like such like a different angle of just like all of these things. I was thinking about guns the other day, and I'm just like, well, what really is a gun, Steve? It's just like this, like masterminded propulsion system we created, right?
Yeah, bro,
it's like me just projecting, but at the end of the day, it doesn't have to be a bullet. Like if I can project anything at your human body at 100 miles an hour, I'll go through you.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Like,
I can project.
I remember, like, think about cars, bro. You literally just roll somewhere. You're just rolling on something somewhere. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's
right. They're on wheels
with this exploding engine. That makes mini explosions and it makes me go forward. And I roll to my destination, in a seat, it's like, a plane is just pretty much like a propelled glider. It's just gliding through the air efficiently, being, you're going super fast. It's scary.
Yeah. What
the fuck we're making out of this bitch, bro?
Had a video in a jet the other day where they were literally going 0 miles per hour in the sky.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. They matched the wind speed.
Yeah,
that's fast. How fast they were going.
Were just hitting 0 on grand mile.
And I remember I was looking at that. I'm just like, wow, I didn't even think about that.
I know.
It would cancel out.
Like, what?
It would cancel out. That makes sense.
I'm just like, what? I even.
Yeah, I'm just like
0.
That's what I'm saying. It's just like he's just stationary, just like kind of floating in that jet stream right there.
That's funny because that led me down to like this long ass fucking YouTube. Did you see that video though?
Yeah,
that
plane.
Sick, bro, I was on like a fucking 4-hour, whole YouTube, man, of black box recordings, dude.
That's wild. Yeah,
fucking plane crashes and shit, bro, and like what went wrong. I listened to this one page, bro. It's like 40-minute breakdowns of each crash from like beginning to end and shit. I learned so much shit, bro. It's crazy how I get interested in these things, but like I don't want to work on planes or not like that. But like once you're like, you know what? I never thought about like what is making that work. Like I was like reading about the one, and it's like it tilted down. I'm like, well, why is it tilting down, but he can still go left and right? I'm like, that's what I learned. Like, there's a vertical control, like literally a vertical stabilizer. That's all done in the wing. I mean, not the wing, the back end, the tail end of like that's what creates the vertical thing. Yeah. The wings that make you go left and right.
Yeah.
Well, I guess to get off the air too, but those fucking black boxes were sick, dude. Like, oh, bro, I'll tell you about some sick ones real quick, man. Like, there was this one, bro, where the pilot, like, he's got the attendant in there with him in the thing, and they're all talking and doing different things. And he's like, I forget the girl's name. He's like, hey, Susie, I need you to do this for me on 3. You know, I'm gonna say it, and then you got to do it. And at the same exact time, I'm gonna need you. And she's like, okay, I got you. And like, he's like, okay, before we do, he's like, what's your son name, Susie? And she's like, I forget, like Clayton or whatever the fuck it is, you know, something with
Right.
C. He's like, Clayton. And he's like, tell Clayton, tell Clayton you love him. Tell Clayton you love him. And like she pauses and he's like, the black box, tell Clayton you love him. And she's like, Clayton, I love you, sweetie. Mommy loves you so much. It's just like, just
Out.
crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Crazy shit, bro. Like that. And first of all, it gave me a different respect for pilots, bro, because these guys really are, you know, a lot of them are like old military and shit, but regardless, like they really do have like this certain like esteem to them where like when things are going wrong, they really do like try to remain their composure, dude. And you're hearing about like, it's cool on this like one page I was watching because it combines all the radios from the tower talking. So like when something's going wrong, they contact the planes next to them. So they're talking to those planes too, because those guys go silent. It's not because they couldn't talk. It's because they just didn't want to say what was going on. That was you ever seen the movie Flight with Denzel?
That was the one with 9/11, right? They were like
No,
no,
this is with Denzel.
no.
That's Flight 193 or
like
something.
yeah, exactly something like that. I've seen a couple of those.
It's called Flight with Denzel. It's a fictional movie. It's not real.
Oh, okay.
He was drinking. He ends up landing a plane and saving everybody. It's a fictional movie though, but it's based on this Alaskan Airlines 171.
I've seen a couple.
I believe
scenes
it's called,
from
right?
Yeah,
And
scenes.
dude, those guys had like a horrible fucking malfunction, dude. And literally, you talk about guys like, dude, it makes you want to cry, bro. I really was crying, dude, because like these two guys did everything they fucking could to save those. There's like 82 people, bro, on that flight. I mean, they did everything they could, Steve. You talk about like the epitome, I believe that's the word, of fucking professionalism. Like that's what those guys were, man. Anybody go listen to the Alaskan Airlines Black Box, bro. And like you hear these people, dude. Here's
watch that one.
But listen to it, bro. It's sad, dude. And listen, I'll send you the one that I listened to if I can find it again, where you can hear the other people talking, because they stop talking, and then you hear the description of what's going on from these other planes because they're watching them. And that's when I learned a thing. When something goes out of when a company stops producing something, they're no longer liable for the updates on it. So there was this plane that everybody loved. Eventually, they stopped production on it and they moved on to another model of it. So whoever had bought that plane, they still send them the recommendations of like things they learned about it while building the new one and shit. Like, this is faulty. This should probably be replaced. Check on this every once in a while. But it's up to who bought it to do those updates and shit. Yeah. And I mean, there's huge amounts of corruption on like these inspections at these planes, like people just not doing their job. And that's what happened here. It wasn't on an inspection. It was actually with a mechanic, bro. He left a fucking loose screw in their vertical stabilizer, dude. Like the ultimate is like, that's already so much to deal with right there. And basically, it's hard to watch the whole video, and of course I don't know it by perfectly, but basically on that back end of this type of plane, it's a compulsion system of like when you want to go up, it slides up on the pulley system, slides down, you know. This screw had lodged up inside of there where like it was staying open and they couldn't control that no more. It was locked on down at 90 degrees down, bro. So out of nowhere, like the thing's just going down and they contact them right away and they're like, if I can just get it up, right? I mean,
yeah, is this the Alaskan Airlines one you're talking about?
Yeah. Maybe just have you listen to it.
Yeah, put this TV on, looks like.
Oh, yeah.
And we can listen to it.
All right. So this is a long trip. Sorry, people. This is a long trip here that I got into.
Going down in the rabbit hole.
What's that?
Black Box Recordings.
That's not the one though specifically.
261. So Alaskan Airlines flight 261.
I'm trying to find the one specific thing. That's what
it was flying inverted. It's wild.
This is what it was. This is the page I got stuck on here.
Disaster breakdown.
Disaster breakdown. Yeah, so he does like plane crashes and shit, but he goes like thoroughly into it. Trying to see if this is like all about the plane and shit. See, that's what. See how that works right there. It's kind of just a little quick thing, but you can kind of see it's like a pulley system here. See the screw?
Yep.
The screw got jammed up right there, and this basically wasn't operating no more, from my understanding. So the movie is basically an exact like replication of what happened, but they land it and everybody lives, of course.
Oh, so they're able to land it?
Not in here.
Oh,
And
not in
in the
here.
movie
Oh, in
with
the movie.
Denzel, he lands it.
Yeah,
That's why
this
it's
one.
fictional. These people die. These people, or are you talking about like everything that can go wrong? See if we can see. Okay, so this is after. Trying to see. I think it's gonna start a little bit
The
later.
final dive, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So at this point, they contacted him, and he said we're in a straight nosedive down. I'm gonna send you the exact video.
Yeah.
Because there's this little part, bro, that like you gotta pay attention to notice. When he first contacts him, he's like, "We're nose down. I don't know what's wrong," but he's calm, bro, so calm. But you can hear like the quake in his voice, right? You're hearing in that too. But so he's like, "Okay," he's like, "Okay, we're trying to stabilize it," and then like they're talking to him, and then like 10 seconds goes by, and he's like, "Okay, we got it. We kind of got it stabilized here." And real quick, you hear his co-pilot say, "No, we don't." And then they go silent, bro. And then they go silent and they start contacting other planes. They're like, what's going on? He's on a nosedive. This plane ends up going inverted, bro. Upside down, dude. That's what in the movie he does it too. Then he hits the thruster, comes back around and lands it. In this one, there's no thruster to flip you back around.
Yeah.
But they did like everything, dude. Oh shit. Everything you could to make this plane land, bro. So he's saying basically we're not gonna go below 17,000. They're at 20.
Nosedive.
That's another plane that's watching. They're taught to not show that emotion either. All this time, they're not talking to the cockpit anymore, but they can talk.
Yeah.
They're just dealing with this.
Yeah.
He's inverted. That's when you know, like,
Yeah.
what, bro? We're upside down.
Yep. Falling that way, boom. In the water.
Poring over the cockpit voice recording transcript reveals a very noble and determined crew who fought to the very
Okay.
end to try and save their plane. What was very hope caused by negligent airlines mechanic, which the Federal Aviation Supervisors rated Alaska as one who should be replaced. He quickly resigned from the airline. Alaska Airlines' maintenance and inspection of its horizontal stick inspector supervised recommendations
I guess it's not here.
on YouTube.
Yeah, it's like I show their
Not
recordings.
that little part, but if you could just hear it when he first says it, bro, like, it's heartbreaking, bro. Shit. It's like when he first says it, because, like, dude, you know, like, your plane's not supposed to go straight down, bro.
Exactly. And just
And his plane
sharply.
goes straight down.
Just sharply.
Look, here it is. That's the first time. Just listen, bro. He's, you know, they're taught not to show that emotion.
Yeah.
Listen to his voice.
Yeah.
It's like, listen real quick when he says we're good. Watch. You hear him breathing? Listen. You hear that real quick?
Yeah, no, we
No, we
don't.
don't. That pull up sound, bro, is I hate hearing that on the black boxes. Pull up.
So they never stop diving.
No. The situation's actually way worse. He's explaining it
Yeah.
better than it is. He's losing height still. They're just not like this no more. They're like that, you know? And that's the last time he talks to him to the other recording you hear.
Yeah.
Because the whole time. See, that's the other people talking. Then he comes right back. Another plunge right there. Just horrible, bro. 82 people dead, man.
Yeah,
Them damn black boxes. You hear a lot of people a lot of people don't really say shit to their families or nothing like that. They're more caught up in the moment.
Yeah.
A lot of them will be like, "This is it." That's what they always say at the end. Usually, a lot of the guys are like, "This is it, baby." Like it's like a guy thing, you know?
Yeah,
like this is it, baby.
One liner.
We all. Yeah. What was crazy is one of them was talking about it when they pulled off. They were like, "What were you say on there?" He's like, "I say this," and they were joking around like, "Fuck you, American Airlines," or whatever it was. Dude ended up crashing, bro. And you hear him at the end. He's like, "We're done. Yeah, we're done." And like once they know,
Ooh,
like
man.
like that guy do. Once that plane, nosedive was bad enough. Once it went upside down, like he knew I'm not gonna correct this
Exactly.
thing. Like I can't correct this.
You're at the mercy.
In the movie, the right engine catches fire, so you can stop the fire, but it kills the engine. And then the left one's on fire. He's like, "Let it go, let it go, let it go, kill it." So it kills it, and then that's when they're inverted, and then they're like, "Oh," and he's like, "Kick it back on," and the power from that turns them back around, which would never work.
Yeah, exactly.
That doesn't even make sense.
Exactly.
You would go like this or something before you would go like that, you know?
If birds get in a free fall, they can't correct
Ain't
themselves.
no bird upside down.
You know what I'm saying? What if they were in their uncontrolled free fall? Like I remember I watched this video of these hawks who were protecting their nests, and they would just go clip these big birds in the sky when they would come near them, and they'd free fall in the sky. They couldn't regain control again. It's not like you just start flapping your wings. It's all against you now. You're falling. You know, like the force of you falling, you can't get your control.
You ever seen how far a hawk comes? How close a hawk goes to the ground?
Yeah.
You know they got the fastest dive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's badass, bro.
They just go into that hawk mode, bro, and it's I think they come within 6 feet of the ground and they can hit a turn.
Yep.
And then how the owl is where it keeps its head straight, but its body moves, but its head's always straight. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
You seen a video of that?
Yeah, bro. It's stabilized.
Yeah, it's stabilized. Yeah. Like the things you used to put on your finger.
Yeah, just the eagle.
What happened to those things, dude?
You can still buy them.
Those are cool.
Yeah, you can still buy them. The little eagle.
I can't play with those. Those are so cool. This balance.
But you got iPads now.
Nah, you know what came after that? That was that eagle, that ball. That was a magnetic ball or something that it was like a gravity ball or something. Remember? Was
Fushigi or something?
Yeah.
I never knew anyone that bought that, bro.
Dude, you definitely had one.
No, I didn't buy Fushigi.
No, I didn't have one either, but that was a big thing.
Yeah, I didn't never. I only
a lot of witches.
I don't think I knew anyone with it, bro. I never knew anyone with it. Yeah, exactly. I never seen one.
It's like a rave thing.
Oh yeah, exactly. You do see them with the light up balls.
You never seen about a light up hula hoop or lights on the end of their fingers neither until you got to a rave.
Yeah, exactly.
And you start seeing some weird shit.
Hula hoops are pretty cool though. I see some people who are pretty fucking good at it.
You know the weirdest shit I ever seen though?
Yeah, hula hoops are a career raver.
The light up ones though, you only see them at raves.
Yeah.
Any other times it's like a kid one, man.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll tell you the weirdest shit I ever seen though. As far as an event, man, I went to Gay Pride in 2016 with because I'm gay. Not with my sister. And we're dancing and shit. We're having a good time, man. And like, a couple people were like coming close to me, and like I was like, and they left me alone and shit. And like, so we leave out of there because like I was eventually like started piling up. It wasn't about the bad guys or nothing. Misconception, okay? It just started getting a little packed. People were doing crazy shit down there, bro. Like that's a party, bro.
It's a party, bro.
It ain't as good as it used to be, but like that
It's a
time,
party.
it's good.
It's a
People are
party.
like running over top of the fucking porta potties and shit. So anyway, I'm coming away and like we go in this alley, dude, and this guy's just like, I don't know what you call it, but I guess like leather outfit, you know, like dominatrix style.
Yeah, strapped up.
Like he's the slave. He's got one of those outfits on, dude. And he's like a chubby guy, and he's got some chest hair. And all it is like two X's like this. And then it's like this hip thing and this circle around his dick that like I guess he could tighten up or something. He had like tightened it full power, bro, to where like his balls and dick were just like screaming for blood. And he was on the middle of the ground doing like angels, bro, in the middle of the alley, like next to this porta potty, bro. I'm just like, what the fuck? Like that was some of the craziest shit I ever seen at an event. I'm just like, this guy's alone. That was the main thing I was worried about. You know, I mean, one thing was like a couple of you had some friends that weren't doing it, but he was alone.
He was probably getting off for
I think
bro.
It was on ketamine. Yeah, you're
He
right.
might be getting off for like
that was
like
his thing, right? He's like, all you fuckers,
or
all
someone,
you faggots and whores and straights and lesbians are mine. You all came here to see me. You know, it's like people that jerk off, the people that don't know they're jerking off to
either
them.
that or like maybe they have like some type of like, you know, power top that's just like, yeah, go roll in the alleyway, piggy. You know, just like
yeah,
they start doing that. You
I
know,
get
it's
what
like,
you said.
So, yeah, and everyone and like people are like laughing at him. And it's like embarrassing for him, but he's getting off the whole time.
I always wonder about that though. I'm always like, when I look at a parking lot, I'm like, someone's jerking off in this parking lot. to people, you know what I mean? Like at a mall and shit. Like you know, there's these perverts, bro. They're not pervert enough to go grab someone. But they do that. Pull up at a bus stop. You know what I mean? Out front of a school.
That's why I never like changing rooms because I feel like I'm like, bro, I feel like dudes beat off all the time in here. Like,
people
like a public spot,
dude, especially porta potties.
They go right next to someone changing, and they're just like they start jerking off in the changing room next to the person in the changing room. Like, I'm sure that's why I don't like going to those places, bro. I'll just take them home. I'll try them on before I go into one of those damn changing rooms, man. I also think about like the Sears changing rooms. Like you go over there, you just got a bunch of women's clothing in the corner. They just go in there, like choke themselves, you know, or some shit, and fucking granny panties in a Sears changing room, and then just jerk themselves off in there. And then this place, I'm like, it just feel filthy. But malls, I don't think I've ever been like more creeped out than when I used to go to the White Marsh. And I remember there used to be all these old dudes that would go there, chill out, drink some coffee or some shit. And they would watch the teenage girls and shit, bro. Like that was like such a common thing when I was like a mall rat. You would go, they'd sit in the food court, and they would just look at like these little ass girls. It's like they were just sitting there plotting a kidnapping without ever overtaking a kidnapping. But it was always like a group of like 6 or 7 old dudes looking at young women. And I'm sure like when you're that old, I'm sure you look at like nothing but like young women, but like you're not looking at children. That's exactly what they're looking at, fucking children. You look at like 20-year-olds, 25-year-olds, but you don't look at 14-year-olds. You know? And that's what you used to see at White Marsh, man.
That's it, yeah.
Like it just like look. And I mean,
I'll say 2 things on that. Number 1, I'll say that is super fucking weird, but I'll tell you what was probably your weirdest moment. And it's definitely that fucking bathroom down at that laser tag in East Point when you've been playing all night and it's like 1 a.m. and you go back there and literally no one's there.
Yeah.
That one underneath the steps, you know what I'm talking about, bro? Yep. That is a weird. I'm like, dude, like, did they invent in case anyone to come down here and rape a kid? Like, did they invent this like this? Because it's literally one long ass hallway, bro, of like in the middle of nowhere, and you got teenagers coming here till 2 a.m.
Yeah,
something don't make sense here.
That was the other thing is that like when you'd be down and below, and you could go out that back door to that weird sketchy ass parking lot that was enclosed with like nothing else back there but like parking. You
yeah, bro.
Bro.
Dude, that, you know, now that we're talking about it, bro, that is a super sketchy spot for children, bro. Yeah, that's like a predator zone.
Mm-hmm.
You could definitely get away with something out there. Just
funny you call it predator zone because it was ultra zone.
Yeah, it's predator zone. Yeah,
ultra predator zone.
Well, even the workers there, like you could tell the managers and shit there definitely used to try and fuck like the young chicks, bro.
Yeah,
dude, I'll tell you one thing I noticed is definitely maintenance men, bro. Like I had my own issues before where people said weird shit, you know, and like before I go in there, like they try to like be cool with you for some reason. Like I don't know why we need to be cool, but like you know, be like, oh, check out that girl in there, you know, or something like that. And it's like I go in there, it's like a 15-year-old. I've had weird moments like that, bro. But my company actually lost a contract because they went into a one room, bro, one house. It was a 16-year-old. And they said that if the guy said the 16-year-old turned around and like she had like a wedgie in like her booty shorts, basically. And like she was going up the steps. And as she was going up, he said like the maintenance guy was like, hey, 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 you see that? And he said like he just looked at him like, the fuck do you mean to us? And like basically like snapped on him, you know?
Yeah.
And he ended up going back and saying like this, you know, that we were the problem there and shit. And like ended up causing this whole dispute. And they went with a different company, like, you know, all because of this. And meanwhile, you're hiring these people that are like this, that are going into you're not even supposed to go into a house that doesn't have an adult there, like with children. You know, you have to get permission through the adult. Just the fact that these old ass maintenance men are going in here with like a 15, 16-year-old that's home alone and shit, I don't like it, bro.
Yeah.
They're weird, dude. They're really weird.
And I mean, I'm glad that guy said something, you know, no matter like what was that cost for the company. He's just like, bro, what the fuck you talking about, bro?
Yeah,
What are you talking about? This I mean, you need more of that, you know what I'm saying?
weird, bro. I feel
Exactly,
like I'll
bro.
headbutt someone.
Predatory,
You
bro.
know what I mean? Or just
I saw a disgusting ass video the other day. It was about it was talking about India's rape culture. And I mean, this guy's just interviewing a bunch of like older dudes, and they're like, yeah, you know, if they dress all slutty, they deserve to get raped. The rapes don't happen without consent. If she's dressed like that, she wants to have sex, you know, shit like that. And I'm
it's a
just
person
like,
on the street.
it's going all over it, you know, like New Delhi and shit. And
In
it's like
India?
20 minutes of just talking to like all these dudes.
That's crazy.
And
That's sick.
it's outright is like, yeah, I mean, like they don't want to cover up. They're like, well, what about you? What if it was like your daughter? Like, well, that's why I keep my women at home. And then they wear like the
Ain't that
shikas
crazy
or whatever.
how
You
people
know?
are like that, bro?
Yeah,
You ever see that woman who was on Joe Rogan talking about anti-Semitism and shit?
no,
It's like I forget her name, but she does like on street interview, same thing in Israel. Bro, they're straight up saying on there like we need to kill all the Palestinians. Like I think I like to think they're not all bad, but I think they do. They're like, what do you think you should do with it? They're like carpet bomb them. There's a 10-year-old that comes on there that he says he's a part of an organization to keep Jews marrying Jews and not Palestinians. Like all of these people, bro, they're all like, we need to kill them. And the one lady's like, how do you translate? We need to kill the Arabs. Like literally, they're open about it, bro. It's sick, man.
yeah,
And it's just a tough predicament.
yeah. I mean, like it's
You
weird
need
how
to
like
open it up, though. Obviously, if you ever want the people to leave, you have to open it up.
yeah,
They
you
can't
saw that
leave.
one video where that one dude was interviewing people, and he was like, so you know, how come the Palestinians can't use the bus stop and shit like that? He was like, only you know the Israelis can do it. He's like, why? Like, you hate the Palestinians? And the Jewish guys just sitting there just trying to like defend Israel, and just like, look, they're right there, they're right across the fence. The poor, they can't use the bus that you're using. You know, it's just like, you know, I mean, you see,
That's the guy.
generally-
He doesn't say nothing, right? The guy doesn't say nothing
no,
back.
not at all.
Right.
Yeah, not at all. you
Yeah, I
know?
remember
You
that
know?
one.
He
Yeah.
was just pressing them. You know?
Uh-huh.
He doesn't look. The Palestinians are right there. You know, just like trying to like put them on blast. It's just like, it's just crazy how they could just come in and just like take shit from people.
Can we catch a flight to Israel?
Yeah.
We can. Okay, yeah, because I know a lot of people go there, like American Christians, goddamn, American Jews go to Israel, bro. Fly there to fight for their armed force,
That's wild.
like believing that they're fighting for their God, bro. Isn't
Yeah.
that crazy?
Yeah. I mean,
All the way over to another country.
it's a Jewish state.
One mother was on there talking about, she's like, I gave him the best life I could on the east side of Philadelphia. And he wants to go to Israel to kill Arabs. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, radicalized, bro.
Yeah.
Same way, the opposite way
Yeah.
that,
and
Islam does it.
they're fighting for their religion. They're fighting for their righteous, you know, land, their holy land. That's what they think of it as. They're going to fight for it. Holy war.
Yeah, that's
And,
how
you know.
they explain it too. It's all because of Zionism. You know that?
Yeah,
That's what
Zionism,
did it. Zionism. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what did it, bro. Because in there they explain Jewish as a nationalization, where he like I don't know if it's like he or whoever wrote that form of it. He's the one that says they should have their own country with Jews
Yeah.
only, and
Or Jewish
only
state.
Only Jews are allowed to have their own country. They're the
Yeah.
only ones that are a country too.
Yep. Exactly, man.
Yeah, and just write whatever you want. That's what I say. Just write whatever you want in there. Whatever you want. What do you
What
want?
do you mean
people-
for the religion?
Yeah, you just write whatever you want, bro. It's just, dude, what I'm saying is think about what I just told you and think about David Koresh. Think about Charles Manson. What is the difference, bro?
There's not much.
What is the difference?
Not much.
They're telling you to do some radicalized, insane shit, and you're the only one who deserves it for your God. And you're allowed to be that. But if someone else says that, I don't understand. They're a cult leader. Like, it's just weird, bro.
Well, I mean, once you get big enough to where you can fight for yourself, it becomes a different thing than something that can be stamped out, in the
I
back
mean,
door
we're
of
a
like
Christian
America.
nation, bro, and
you
we're
know?
funding them. So I
Yeah.
don't even think it really fucking matters as far as that goes.
I just think, it's like, if they'll stamp it, like they would, stamp it out if they could. But, once it got its influence and its support, and now it's a whole thing to where it's like, even other powers in the area can't fight them, because of what they've become and the kind of power foothold that they've taken in there, as a Jewish state.
My bosses are Muslim, and I guess they're not Orthodox, but they come from Muslim, and they were telling me, one guy was telling me, he's like, man, he's like, I swear to God, he's like, I studied the Quran, I studied Muslim, Islam all my life. His name is Islam, literally, and his language it's Islam, and he's like, I studied it all my life. Never once did I ever hear anything about 30 virgins. It was like that was never ever a thing. Like that radicalization part and shit like that. Like that was mainly propaganda. That's like people taking advantage of dumb people. That just don't know. Like 40 virgins and like suicide bombing shit. He's like that was never shit that like is preached in the Quran or anything I've read or I've practiced. Yeah, it's crazy.
And I mean, in all religious textbooks, if you look into something, like they're all gonna have their bad in them. I remember the funniest thing. There's one dude, he went around and he was reading Bible verses as if it was from the Quran. He was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna read some stuff from the Quran," and they were Bible verses. And people were like,
I remember that.
"Yeah," people were like, "Yeah,
That's
Islam,
ridiculous.
yeah." And they're like, "Well, that's actually from the Bible." And they're just like, I mean, there's a lot of bad shit in all those old, historical books, bro. You know what I'm saying? But like, it can all be a positive thing.
Did you ever see the video of them two people going, it's just the Bible, but one of them is saying the good side and one of them are saying like bad proverbs. You ever see that? Like one of them is like, like the guy, I obviously don't know any, but the pastor was like, a man should only be with a woman, and then like the other guy's like goes back and he's like, but I forget, like they got all those funny things in there, like you dress in cloth on Saturday and you get 60 lashes, like there's a bunch
of fabrics.
Like there's a bunch of dumbass shit in there like that, so that's why we say this seems like it was a bunch of man's wants.
I think in the Old Testament there's an excerpt where it talks about like, if you beat a slave and it lives for a day or two, you are not to be punished or some shit like that,
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Something like that. I mean, there's a bunch of old. I mean, sodomy they talk about, and then they talk about fucking cheating on people and stuff. And you
no masturbation.
You get stoned to death. And like the other thing, like you said, with the mixing of fabrics.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I just picture it's one guy that's right. He's like, you know what? I'll write my own Bible. I got no fabrics, no mixed fabrics.
And not only that, then you go into like, oh, it's based off King James Bible.
A king wrote it.
Huh?
We can go all day with that stuff. I just think it's funny how like it's not called a cult. They're all cults.
They're all cults.
They're all cults.
It's all about power, bro. It's about power. You know what I'm saying?
Now you got Scientology.
And you know what happened?
How about this? Shout out to Scientology. Because they did the damn thing, bro. They really did the damn thing.
Yeah.
At this point, like, bro, they're like gaining, dude.
Yeah.
They're gaining.
Same thing with Mormons.
You know what's getting big, though, is they're about to have like a huge FBI investigation on Scientology, if it's not already going on, for disappearances, dude.
That's wild, man.
Huge issue, bro.
I think Mormons do like similar shit, bro. Like the Church of Latter-day Saints. Like you look into the story of like, how that started, and it's like, what the fuck,
At least they like are good to their own, though. Where like Scientology seems like it really is cult. Like you've heard countless stories. Apparently, like the one I was reading about was this they pay the local police forces and shit too, man. They have money.
Yeah.
Her son had died there, bro, with the dad there. He visited his dad there. He wasn't a Scientologist, but his dad is. He visits him there and he ends up dying, bro, by getting stabbed. Dude, she doesn't find out about it for like 20 days later. When she goes there, she finds out They didn't show up to get the body till 12 hours later. They didn't do like any of the reports. They didn't file a report internally. Like all these other shit. They said he overdosed. He had a knife wound. Like it was crazy. And she's not allowed to like do anything because it's so long ago, basically. So they're trying to like open up new things. But like apparently multiple people were having problems like that with them. Like people disappearing and shit, man, you know. Once you're in it, you in it, bro. And you know,
Yeah,
you
and that
give
costs money.
them.
That costs money too.
You give them your confidentiality, though, you know, that's part of their agreement. When you sign up for Scientology, you have to give them something confidential, something compromising. So they know these people's deepest, darkest secrets. And when you talk to the people that are there, they say like, no, like these people really tell their deepest, darkest secrets they have, man. You hear that a lot about like these rape cults. They get people to do that as collateral. So that this one rape cult I was reading about with this one guy, ugly ass motherfucker, bro, got people to do that, was branding bitches, dude. Branding them, literally branding them. No anesthetic, no nothing, dude. It's crazy, bro.
Sick, bro.
Just using that power for evil, dude, and like abusing people, man. I fucking hate it.
Yeah, I mean,
I hate motherfuckers like that.
Yeah,
dude.
and then,
you could get those people to do so many good things for the world, for themselves, you
they're
know,
using it for like their self gain, ego,
man.
and they're just like, you know,
Not
fucking,
only for that, not even for like financials, but like sex.
yeah,
you
just
know,
sex
like
and
just
power,
sex,
you know, just to
dude,
rape
like,
people and shit.
Come on, bro. Listen, if anything, just manipulate one bitch, you know.
Manipulate the economic system.
Don't
to
manipulate
make some
everybody,
crazy
man.
wealth. Don't
There's
pay
only
taxes
100
on it.
horses. You're gonna claim 20?
And then go get a fucking tax haven, and then you know, use it that type of way. Don't go fucking raping people, man. Like, just,
Dude, fuck these people. Also, know your worth. See the signs. Don't get stuck into a cult.
the dose determines the poison.
Love you all. Check us out. Thank you for watching. Keep it safe. Stay positive. Test negative. Big fights this weekend. We're gonna come in here. We're gonna figure something out. Love you all.
Y'all have a good one. Y'all have a good night. Like, share, and subscribe. We appreciate it.